straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, very good morning to you. An heroic rail worker who tried to stop the knife attack on the train in Huntingdon remains in a life-threatening condition.
Reports that the knife-wielding attacker told passengers the devil is not going to win as he launched a rampage on a high-speed train to London.
Well, the suspect was questioned by police over the 14-minute stabbing spree, which left 11 people with injuries requiring hospital treatment.
While the driver has been praised for diverting the service into an emergency stop, saving the lives of many passengers.
Now, terrorism has been ruled out. Police are still working on uncovering a motive for this attack.
5 people have been discharged from hospital, but there remains a police presence at the scene here at Huntingdon and at railway stations across the country as a continued surge goes on.
Up more than 100 tax and spending plans as the budget approaches.
Prince of Wales is heading, as we speak, to Brazil, where he will launch this year's Earthshot Prize.
The going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
More than 30,000 tributes to those lost in conflict have been unveiled at the National Memorial Arboretum.
And as violent crime rises and police numbers fall, today we're asking, is it time to let Britons carry self-defence tools like pepper spray?
In sport, Wolverhampton Wanderers are seeking their 5th permanent manager in 4 years following the sacking of Vitor Pereira. Yannick Sinner has returned to #1 in the world tennis rankings following his victory at the Paris Masters, and India's women are celebrating their first Cricket World Cup title after beating South Africa by 52 runs.
It's a dull, damp and windy start to the week. Are there any signs of brightness on the horizon? I'll have the full forecast a little later on.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Thank you for starting your day and your week with us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast.
Hello, good morning to you. A 32-year-old man is being treated as the only suspect of those stabbings, those mass stabbings on a train in Cambridgeshire.
Well, the second suspect who was arrested, a 35-year-old man, has since been released.
Authorities say the heroic rail staff member who tried to stop the attack and undoubtedly saved lives remains in a life-threatening condition. 5 others have been discharged from hospital.
Well, meanwhile, the train driver, who's been credited with saving lives by quickly diverting the London-bound train to Huntingdon Station after the alert was raised, has now been identified as Andrew Johnson, who is an Iraq war veteran.
Let's go to our national reporter, Charlie Peters. Charlie's live in Huntingdon this morning, so let's speak to him. Charlie, good morning to you.
Eamonn, good morning, Ellie. Yes, a significant police presence still here at the scene where that LNER service came to a stop. The lights still on inside those carriages behind us on the train where that 14-minute stabbing frenzy took place and where several people remain in hospital, including, as you say, one brave LNER train staff worker who remains in a life-threatening condition, with both that worker and the driver being praised for their heroic actions just 2 nights ago as they worked to curtail the possible devastation of that 14-minute stabbing spree. And the lone suspect in this case remains in police custody, that 32-year-old black British national who was questioned, we're told, by police officers last night, who continue to say that there is no suggestion of a terrorist motive, but have yet to give any wider indication of a possible motive in the suspect's actions in this case. Now, what has been revealed has been so much more of the testimony from those on the train, with many people describing it as something out of a horror film. One passenger on the service from Doncaster to London King's Cross that left at 6:25 on Saturday evening said that they thought it could have been a Halloween prank at first. An eyewitness saying that it felt like something coming out of a film. And one passenger called Dana Arnold, a 48-year-old, had told the Telegraph yesterday that she saw the attacker coming towards her with a knife that has been recovered at the scene and is being assessed forensically. She said, "I said, please don't. Then something changed in his eyes and he said, the devil's not going to win." This so far is the only account of anything that this lone suspect has said during that 14-minute stabbing frenzy. Police still working on uncovering a motive for the attack, which of course was in some confusion due to the original information we'd received that 2 individuals had been arrested, with British Transport Police superintendents giving us a briefing yesterday morning here at Huntingdon rail station saying that 2 men had been arrested. Another man, a 35-year-old man of Caribbean descent, although police have since said that he's been released with no further action and had been arrested after a report was made in good faith. And as you can hear behind me, those services, those high-speed services, are still coming through Huntingdon while this station remains closed off. There is that significant police presence still all around this location. Some forensic activity will still be ongoing today as this police operation enters its 3rd day, but also a medical care response also continues, with just 5 people being discharged from hospital, 1 still in a life-threatening condition of the 11 originally treated after that frenzied attack, as it was described by so many on the train, with 1 passenger saying that they felt blood on their hands as they moved to touch one of the seats on the LNER service. Some of the limited footage that we've gathered from people reacting, as you can imagine, in such a panicked manner, just indicating some of the horror that unfolded on that service behind us. But as we enter day 3, there is, of course, Eamonn and Ellie, quite a lot of pressure now on the police to give more information. There has been some criticism that it took until the Sunday morning for British Transport Police, who have the primacy in this investigation, to give further information about those involved, when of course so many of the eyewitnesses had given some of their accounts already to the press, to GB News, and online, of course, posting on social media on Saturday night about what had happened, what they had seen, and also, crucially,
nobody dead
what
yet.
they thought the attacker might have been doing. So more information coming out. We're expecting more information soon, and we're also expecting the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, to give an update on the House by Monday afternoon. How much we can imagine she's hoping for further information from the police before then.
And also, Charlie, we're aware, aren't we, that British Transport Police officers are going to be stationed at stations up and down the country today.
Yes, that's right, Ellie. There's going to be a surge continuing until Tuesday at major railway termini. So you're going to see more police officers, including at London King's Cross last night, and travelling to this location yesterday. I have to say I did notice a surge myself, and also quite a few anxious-looking faces from passengers on the railway platform, conscious of the fact that they might previously not have considered a train on the British railway system to be an area where they might be subject to a frenzied attack. There is, I think, still a slight atmosphere of anxiety among some railway passengers the day after, as you'd expect, such a frenzied and devastating attack, which 5 people have been discharged from medical care, but 6 still receiving treatment and 1 in a life-threatening condition.
Thank you, Charlie. We'll talk to you throughout the programme and as things develop this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Charlie.
I don't know why we are so anti having scanning devices, you know, going into schools or going into railway stations or whatever. I mean, we just have to take it. Never mind all this. Oh, but it might affect us being late for the train or whatever. If it affects you, you know, not being stabbed or not being dead, that's what it's all about. But I would think, you know, being able to go the way you would at an airport, you know, through a scanner, what's wrong with that?
Well, there have been calls for airport-style security to be started at train stations. I was listening this morning on the radio and a security expert was saying it's a bit more difficult in a train station because there's so many entry points, so many exit points,
well,
so many different platforms. But, I mean, it could be done, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Perhaps more stop and search. Maybe we need to be stopping more individuals and seeing if they are carrying any form of weapon. I mean, the worst part about this story for me was when you hear about it, being trapped on a train, hearing that there is somebody going around and stabbing people and you've got nowhere to go. But we are hearing, aren't we, in the papers this morning, and Charlie was just reflecting there, the quick thinking of the train driver. He had 2 choices, didn't he? To stop in the middle of nowhere, open the doors and let everybody get off.
Yeah, for what? For what? And then how did the police and the emergency services reach them wherever they are?
But he did the right thing, going to Huntington. It was an unscheduled stop, but it was a good place to stop because the emergency services were very close by. So in doing so, he saved many lives.
Right, well, the life of the attacker. Can't wait to find out about him and his friend, the devil. But the devil wasn't going to win, he said, so he wasn't even on the side of the devil, so he thinks.
So he thinks.
There we go. 11 minutes past 6 o'clock. A very good morning to you. In other news, the Chancellor's budget, 3 weeks away? And there's still considerable uncertainty over which tax rises she will choose.
Well, Rachel Reeves is understood to be considering more than 100 separate tax and spending measures and could target those earning more than £45,000.
But will that be enough to close her 30 billion black hole? Joining us in the studio, former political advisor Oscar Redrop. Oscar, good to see you. So she's going to piddle around and do lots of little tiny things, it seems to be, from that suggestion, instead of going for some big thing. What do you think of how it's shaping up?
I just think this is the budget at the end of November, and the inevitable tax rises that are going to come were always that. They were always inevitable. I think even Rishi Sunak, before the last election, he said Labour will hike your taxes. We had by
£2,000, wasn't he saying?
Yeah, at the time. The Taxpayers Alliance today and the Big Times piece that are covering this whole suite of options that the Chancellor's considering have actually worked out that you'd be spending that the average UK family would spend £600,000 in their lifetime on tax in this country. And, you know, the inevitability of this is incredibly, incredibly depressing. because it was always.
I hate the
going
question
to
you
be...
made, but you're saying 600,000. They're saying in the Mail today, 1.3 million is the staggering amount of tax paid by the average British family over a lifetime.
Well, okay,
There's still more to come.
That's
worse.
That's even worse, and maybe that's another 3 or 4 years of Rachel. But look,
I think you're both correct because I think it was 600k in income tax.
Okay,
so there you go,
Ellie.
You can both have that one.
That is spot on. But look. The reason why we're in this position now is because we've had, 16 months or so of a Labour government that have, despite the best efforts of solely applying the pressure on the previous Conservative government, and it's 14 years of this, 14 years of that, have not been able to inject any productivity or growth into the economy. And whilst that has been happening, have not been able to have the mettle and the bottle, if you like, to really slash welfare spending and spending across government, across the board. And so what does that mean? That means Rachel Reeves is going to come with her bucket, knocking on all of our doors and asking for more money to bail, in essence, to bail the government out at this point, which is thoroughly depressing. And this, £45,000 salary, that we can read into the briefings here, that if you earn 45 and above, there will be tax rises of some sort.
You're not defined then as a working person, or is that promise out the window, do you think?
I find the government's cringe-making definition of, this is what a working person is, this is what working people means. I mean, for one, who are Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer to tell me, you, anyone watching the show, if they're a working person or not? But putting that aside, I think there is going to be real anger in the country come the end of the month. And look, and this is the question I would ask, because people will be like, oh, no, well, I want to pay more tax, I want better services, I want a better operating government. And it's all very well you sat there saying, oh, evil government raising my taxes. Has this government in the last 16 months shown one morsel of competency that would make you think that they are going to spend your money wisely?
No. The answer is they haven't. What I would want one of them to do is to think of ways of generating money, earning money in the country. How are we going to do that? Not penalising us even more.
Yeah, and this is my point. Rachel Reeves is not a bad person. Rachel Reeves clearly cares about her job. She cares about the country. She's clearly hard-working, and there is a level of competency there. That's why she is the Chancellor of the UK, one would hope. But it just speaks when a government is out of ideas in terms of engendering that growth or that productivity, or being like admitting defeat on that, saying, well, I don't quite know how we can get growth in this country, but I tell you what we will do, we will cut spending. So we don't have to come knocking on working people's doors asking them for more money. And Rachel Reeves and the government are clearly 16 months in. It was always going to happen, always going to happen. They're out of ideas, and that's why
she's not thinking up the ideas, Oscar. Really, and people like you, my friend. When you were advising the Conservative government, when you were in there, who are the people? And I reckon they're quite young. They're not old sage people who are sitting saying this would be a wise, canny thing to do. To sort of describe as who would be let loose on, here's a good idea, here's how we're going to get money.
Well, I mean, I would not count myself in this at all, but there are some really talented people in government that will be around Rachel Reeves right now advising her. But there's a fear kind of groupthink thing that happens, which is actually I'm not brave enough. We're not brave enough as a government or advisors or even the frontline politicians to make these bold moves. Just not brave enough to do it. I know what's simpler. It'll be painful, but I know what's simpler. Just knock on people's doors and ask for a bit more cash. And that is a really depressing place for this country to be. And lastly, I would just say, in the briefing of this, and the top story in the Times today, political story, a suite of 100 potential tax and spend options. I mean, if that's not uncertainty, I don't know what is. I mean, isn't that just, if you're watching this, isn't that just a crazy thought that we're only 3 weeks away from decisions that are going to affect our bottom line as families and households, and that there's 100 ideas just being chucked around number 11 right now in the air, and they don't know which one they're going to pick? I mean, is that not terrifying?
OK, well, we'll be terrified for the next hour. Come back and see us after 7, Oscar.
Thanks, Oscar.
And we will take comments, and folk at home will be having their say. Have your say, and we'll put those points to Oscar.
Now, at 17 minutes past 6, it's time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
My name is Marcus Mack. I'm a priest in the Church of England. Whenever I get invited to a wedding, I always feel a great sense of privilege. For the couple, their wedding day is probably the biggest and most important day of their lives. So what an honor it is to be invited to share in their moment and joyfully celebrate their union. I feel blessed that they wanted me to be there. In the Bible, marriage and weddings on earth are used as an analogy of the ultimate wedding in heaven. They are images, pictures of the ultimate marriage, the union between Christ and his bride, the church. In the very last book of the Bible, we are told, blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. The word blessed literally means happy. Happy are those who are invited to this wedding because they have been waiting to be reunited with the Lamb of God who sacrificed himself for them on the cross. This event is the culmination of God's salvation plan to win himself a people who will dwell with him forever. Heaven will be like a wedding feast, a celebration full of joy and happiness for the union of God and his people forever.
How's the weather looking to you this morning? I always turn to Eamonn for my weather because you always have a very good idea.
A bit wet, not overly wet, not overly cold.
OK, mild.
Let's see, but don't take my word for it. Jonathan Vautry, how's it doing?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, a very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week, quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue though as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that, but it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight, maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thanks for your company this morning. Thanks for watching us here on GB News Breakfast. We're going to bring you the very latest on that attack, that train attack in Huntingdon. We're there. Our reporter Charlie Peters live for us this morning. Up next, Prince William is travelling to Brazil. He launches this year's Earthshot Prize, and our royal correspondent Cameron Walker has the details next. Keep it here, GB News Breakfast.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around, a nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Now, the Prince of Wales says he's excited to experience Brazil's vibrant culture as he starts his first official visit to the Latin American country today.
I've never been to Brazil.
No, have you?
No.
It's meant to be great. Or did you just say, I've never been? I thought you said, have you ever been?
No, I've not been and you've not been, so
Wow.
there you are.
You can
but-
experience it for us.
Yeah, but William is hosting his 5th annual Earthshot Prize, and he will represent his father at a major international climate conference.
Well, our royal correspondent, Cameron Walker, is very lucky, and he sent us this report from Rio de Janeiro.
Rio, a bustling hive of culture, beach life and excitement. And the buzz is building as the city prepares for a special royal guest. The Prince of Wales is a popular icon, even thousands of miles away from home, as Britain's ambassador to Brazil explains.
The royal family is very well known here, and His Royal Highness in particular as well. So coming here to Rio, iconic city, there's a lot of interest and there's a lot of excitement. I think we'll see a lot of Brazilians out on the street coming to say hello.
By bringing his Earthshot Prize to the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Prince William spreading his environmental message far and wide, cementing his position as a global statesman. The King's personally written to Brazil's president ahead of his son's visit and is understood to be particularly interested in William's Earthshot Prize, finding solutions to repair the planet, avoiding climate scaremongering. And in its first half-decade, Britain's businesses are making strides.
An Enzo tire is black, it's round, it has a hole in the middle. But the secret is what we put in it.
Enzo, which makes sustainable tyres, has landed major deals with Uber and Transport for London.
Having Prince William talk about the problem we're trying to solve, making electric cars more successful by reducing their cost and reducing their environmental impact, is critical.
And Notpla, whose seaweed packaging has exploded due to Prince William's personal phone bashing.
With all of his connections in football, he was able to really make us kind of like more visible to some of those people who started adopting Notpla. And fast forward to today, we have over 60 stadiums using Notpla. We've replaced 30 million single-use plastics to date.
The Prince of Wales says he's excited to experience Brazil's vibrant culture. Today, he will receive a real Brazilian welcome before the hard work begins. Cameron Walker, GB News in Rio de Janeiro.
Very nice. OK.
Very nice too.
Now, it's never too early to think about the festive season, and how would you like to have your Christmas on us?
Well, that's right. This is the latest Great British giveaway. £40,000 in tax-free cash to have in time for Christmas, and £1,000 to spend on a luxurious Christmas lunch. And the best part of all of this, a GB News goodie bag for under the tree. Here are all of the details.
£1,000 for lunch.
Yeah.
That's a lot of lunch.
A lot of lunch for a lot of people. Here are all the details that you need.
We're giving you the chance to win your entire Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. And the best news? You'll get it all in time for the big day. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
There's nothing as good as a lovely Christmas lunch.
Oh, I know, it's making me hungry.
Well, especially before Christmas.
Yeah. I love that run-up the few weeks before, and you just eat turkey all day long.
I do like turkey and stuffing.
I like
that very much. I like Brussels sprouts. I like roast potatoes.
I like Christmas pudding.
I like gravy.
Yeah.
So
we're quite easy customers, really, I think.
we could be good advocates of that prize, winning that prize.
But we can't win it, unfortunately, but you can, so do get involved.
Well, if you're out and about today, you're looking to head somewhere, you're on the roads, here's the way it's looking.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Fife drivers should exercise caution due to surface water. In Windsor and Maidenhead, a road collision on the M4 westbound between junctions 7 and 8 has closed one lane. On the M25 clockwise between junction 5 and 6 in Surrey, a broken down vehicle blocks one lane. In Leicestershire, a collision on the M1 southbound between junction 22 and 21A has led to lane closures, with normal conditions expected by 9:15 this morning. And on the trains, expect disruption on both Great Northern and Elna services between London King's Cross and Peterborough. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
More than 30,000 tributes to those lost in conflict have been unveiled at the National Memorial Arboretum. Our reporter Jack Carson has more next here on GB News Breakfast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Got an interesting report for you now because last week more than 30,000 tributes, 30,000 of them, were given to those lost in conflict and were unveiled at the National Memorial Arboretum.
Well, the Royal British Legion's Field of Remembrance is an annual tradition to allow people to reflect and remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Our national reporter, Jack Carson, with this.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Thousands of individual tributes, all of them telling a story. The Royal British Legion Field of Remembrance at the National Memorial Arboretum remembers all those who have lost their lives in conflict from the First World War to the present day. Philippa Rawlinson is the Director of Remembrance at the Legion.
There is something comforting about remembering and coming together and uniting that feels really poignant for those that have lost families, lost loved ones 80 years ago in more recent conflicts such as over in the Balkans or in Afghanistan or Iraq, but also those serving today. Very important that we stop, we remember, and we all wear our poppy to show that we remember, but also we care about our armed forces community.
This year's field is the largest there's ever been at the Arboretum, with just under 35,000 tributes planted in the shape of a poppy. Each of the tributes laid here carry a personal message, honouring the memory of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
We come not to mourn our heroes, but to honour them.
After the service to officially open the field, those in attendance were given the chance to find their poppy and, for some, plant their own. Chantel Wynne received support from the Legion after her husband took his own life.
My husband served in Afghanistan, and when he come back, my husband wasn't the same sort of person as he was, and my husband committed suicide, so passed away. I was naive and thought the RBL was for the older generation, but I contacted them and they come out to me straight away. They helped me fill out forms, they helped me look at the finances to make sure that I was financially secure.
The Royal British Legion's 2025 Poppy Appeal aims to highlight how the charity can help rebuild a veteran's life after they feel it's fallen apart. Steve Cartwright joined the army at 16 and served with the Royal Engineers. He was deployed to Kosovo in 2000 and was recalled after he'd become a reservist for Op Telic in Iraq. Steve and his wife Tracy say the charity's support was a turning point.
I certainly wouldn't be here now without them. Over the years I suffered with complex PTSD from service, and I got to a point, as I've mentioned before, that I was so down, I was so at the end of everything. It was that evening that I got a message from email from the RBL that basically said I was invited onto a battle back course. Honestly, it changed my life.
The support is a lifeline to veterans, to families. You know, give what you can, because you'd be surprised what that few pounds does for a family, for a life.
100%.
Some are planted for friends, others for family, but all of them are a thank you and a reminder we must not forget. Jack Carson, GB News.
Still to come, the King wants to remove Andrew's final rank. We'll be discussing that and more in the papers. Who have we got today?
We've got Chris and Dawn with us today. Chat to you in a minute, you two. But first, we're going to search some holiday sun. Here's the forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, a very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week, quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Yeah, well, obviously you can't, on the one hand, say that the government is forcing everybody to go to work an hour early and then say people are welcome to go to work an hour earlier if they want to. As you say, Tom, there's a collective action problem. You know, people go to work at certain times, they have office hours, and those office hours are based on what everybody believes the time to be. So the point here is not that anybody believes that daylight savings actually creates more daylight. It just creates a daylight when people can actually enjoy it, and people tend to want their leisure and recreation after work rather than before work. It also has daylight saving time various health and well-being benefits. The reason that it was introduced during the First World War is, in fact, it does allow a certain amount of extra efficiency. You need less electricity, for example, in the evenings. You don't need to have the floodlights on during an afternoon football game and all the rest of it. So for health and well-being reasons, I'm very much in favour not just of keeping daylight saving time, but having it all year round.
But also, in terms of safety for women as well, it's better for us to be walking home if it's lighter and things like that, you know what I mean? When it's really dark, it does get dark quite quickly towards the winter months. There's no problem. I mean, what is the real reason as to why this would be a problem, Peter, for the clocks to change anyway? I mean, that's fine, isn't it? We all get used to it and then it comes back when the light sort of changes.
Well, collective madness is always a problem. When people do something stupid in very large numbers, it's worrying. I mean, I find it amusing now because it's obviously impossible to persuade people that this thing is as crazy as it is. You say things like, it's better for women to be able to walk down the street when it's light. Well, no doubt it is, but the street will remain as light or as dark as it would have been before, whether you fiddle with the clocks or whether you don't.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
We say hello, good morning and welcome to Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi, who are casting their eyes through the papers today.
Morning.
And
morning.
Morning.
The big headlines are all about this Huntingdon train.
Yes.
What do you think of what you're reading, Dawn?
Well, every single paper has done the right thing and put the story on front page today, and I like the papers, personally, that have concentrated on the heroes on the train, the people that actually saved other people's lives, and in particular the hero train worker who protected his passengers. We're not entirely clear what the person's job was. I think he was the steward on the train. You know, your job is basically to sell tea and coffee and to make sure the passengers are comfortable, not to end up saving their lives. So he hasn't been named yet, but you know, an amazing job. And he is one of the 2 people who are still fighting for their life in hospital. But I mean, what an absolute hero. And I think what this story illustrates is obviously the person that did this obviously was having a severe psychotic mental health episode. We don't know the whole reason behind it yet, but what it does illustrate is how amazing we can be when we help one another, and the amount of heroism and bravery that went on the passengers on that train, because no one ever expects to get on a train on a Friday night and end up running for their life, fighting for their lives, and witnessing what they witnessed. And, you know, I was lucky enough to interview a survivor of 7/7 over the weekend, and he said reading about this and seeing this happening again brought it all back for him. Of course. And this stays with you forever. I mean, it really will do. You'll never get over it, and you can't just walk away from this. You just don't expect this to happen. Get on a train, end up fighting for your life. Ridiculous.
Chris?
Well, I mean, I think Dawn's articulated very, very well. It's not an experience that you want to observe, let alone be involved with. I do. What struck me though is how in today's environment, because of social media, the authorities had to come out and say, this is not an illegal immigrant. This is not a terrorist attack. You know, because how prolific we can be breaking news and then also conjecture on social media. So the way that our institutions have changed the way, because prior to that, you know, it had been kept under wraps, we've been thinking about it, investigating, but it's really, really quick. So that's a juxtaposition, is that something like this happens and immediately you have to state the nationality, etc., etc.
But then there's also been criticism that it's taken too long to get any information on this suspect. I didn't hear anything until I think it was 10:30 a.m. yesterday with the police conference.
Yeah, but they had to be sure what they were saying. I first heard about this on the golf course in the morning, and the challenges there were, if this is another terrorist attack, we've got to, you know, and everybody was quite febrile until 11:30 when it came out, no, British citizens, 2 British citizens, of which one was wrongly tasered, you know, and again...
You've got to feel so sorry for that chap. Just happened to be the same age, the same build, wearing the same clothing as the person who was guilty, got off the train and said, no, it's not me, and then he ended up being tasered purely because he looked exactly the same as the person that did it.
Yeah. Better he was that he wasn't.
Well, this is the point, Eamonn,
we can all sit and look at navels about this one.
Yeah.
You got police who took decisive action.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And as for people who are saying, oh, well, they said it was a terrorism, there was a message went out that said that it was a terrorism incident, and then they had to correct themselves. So what? So surely you've got to assume the worst before it moves on.
No, who said it was a terrorism?
They said that they couldn't rule it in, but they couldn't rule it out initially in the press conference. They said at the moment it's not being taken as terrorism.
Well, that's sensible.
But you have to assume the worst. Eamon's right,
The Telegraph has rightly, I think, focused on this driver as well, who now understand to be a war veteran who served in Iraq. And his quick thinking saved so many lives. Because Huntington wasn't a scheduled stop. It wasn't a scheduled stop. He knew it was coming up, and he knew the right thing to do was to get to that stop. It was going to take a few minutes, but he knew the emergency services would be there. The other option, of course, was just to stop the train, let everybody out, let everybody run.
In the middle of nowhere.
But in the middle of nowhere.
And then the emergency services wouldn't have been able to get to them. So those
right.
choices.
Well, let's move on now. And Chris, we're going to talk about tax cuts. Nigel Farage, Reform UK. Basically, he's saying, yeah, look, I want to have tax cuts, but we can't do it until we get the deficit under control.
That's right. I mean, the headlines in the paper says that Nigel wants to be known as Alarm Clock Britain, raising an alarm. I think I'm trying to think of the US president who said it's the economy stupid. I'm not sure if it was Clinton. Yeah, it was Clinton. Rightly, Farage is saying it is about the economy, and a lot of the discontent is the economy. And at the end of this month, you know, when the taxes rises up, it's going to be about the economy. And whether
The interesting thing about Farage is he's worked in the city. He knows how to raise money. At least he has an idea, unlike anybody in the Labour Party.
Yeah, it's always good to have worked outside of politics rather than, gone to university, gone straight into politics, etc. So you are right. So he's talking about cutting taxes and also juxtapose that with cutting government spend. Also looking at energy and oil and gas. And he doesn't say it in the paper, but maybe also fracking, looking at the 2030 agenda and net zero.
Well, good luck with all of that, mate.
Yeah.
Because none of them is just the political pressure on them. I agree with you. I think it should be like that. I saw a terrible headline in the paper today, which I'm just trying to get. Something like 3 fires a week around the country are caused by solar panels on your roof.
Yes, I saw that story at the weekend. It is quite frightening, isn't it? And many of these solar panels are manufactured in China. So we don't actually quite know the standards of them, but it is scary. Exactly, we lots of people are installing them now. When they work perfectly well, but they have been known to trigger these fires as well.
When they work perfectly well until they burst into flame.
Until they burst into flame, a bit like electric cars,
But I was thinking a word of warning for Farage is Liz Truss tried to cut taxes and government spend and found herself out on her...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this is a speech he's going to give in the City of London today, sort of like really going into the tax cut detail, or the budget details that reform would have. And the alarm clock Britain phrase is talking about championing workers, people that set their alarms to get up to go to work. Interestingly...
It's their version of working people.
Yeah, exactly. Nick Clegg used the phrase back in 2011, I think it was. And
so I set my alarm this morning to come to work, so that's me.
You'd count. But he's also pointing out that, unlike Labour, working people does involve people who are running businesses as well. It's like the two aren't mutually exclusive. You can be a working person, you can run a small business, whereas Labour seem to think that working people are just this group that have nothing to do with businesses. That's why we can hammer businesses.
Now, according to the latest reports, Rachel, is people under 45 grand who earn less than 45 grand.
Which involves a lot of ordinary working people.
And people who will not feel in any way entitled or rich in any way whatsoever.
They won't,
I mean,
Eamonn,
earn yourself 45 grand and then see how rich you don't feel, really, at the end of that. But there we go, that's that.
Let's have a look at the Daily Express, shall we? And the King wants to remove Andrew's final rank.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is a story more that Chris should talk about, really, because it is to do with military service. I mean, Andrew, no one's defending Andrew in any way, shape or form for whatever he has done. But I think, I mean, now can we just stop now? I don't ever want to talk about Andrew again as long as I live, to be honest with you. I mean, but this is sort of like now, and evidently it's coming from the King to strip him of his the Vice Admiral in the Royal Navy title. It's an honorary position. He obviously, he did serve in the military, and I just think, really, is it necessary now? What do you think to this, Chris? I mean,
I think your point you said is that it's an honorary position, so it's his last honorary title.
But respect has to go with it, and there's no respect.
Well, yeah, I mean, there'll be plenty of places where he was in army messes, naval messes. His picture had been up on the wall. They'll have probably been taken down. I think the challenge the King has got is that in many of the messages that the palace wanted to put out, Andrew kept on taking out references to the challenges of the survivors. And I think that the King has lost his tether now or patience, should I say, with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. And I'm just looking at the juxtaposition between how the King, did I say the King? How the King is dealing with his brother to how the Queen, late Queen, dealt with her son. And you can see there's a little bit difference between the maternal... Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm not trying to make it right or wrong, but very different relationship. You can see. And now history, unfortunately... Well, I say fortunately mean that, but the history is not going to look very kindly on Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. He's 65 now. In 40 years' time, when he's no longer here, history, everything that's been involved with Epstein and Dufresne, etc., is not going to look kindly, and the King has put the final nail.
Well, this decision is being made according to the government, being pushed by the King, so their decision.
Well, look, I think there's a...
So he will retain his. He will retain. Sorry, he
His
will retain
service
his
medals.
military. Yeah, his military medals.
And that's
so he went.
right.
Yeah, so he went to the Falklands. Precisely that.
Country.
Right.
Oh, but this story says there's no decision made about that yet.
No, you can't take that away from me. Well, no. If you've got a gallantry medal, not the. If you've got a gallantry medal, you've got a gallantry medal. That's history.
I agree with Don. I think there's not much you can say in his defence, but I do think there's a certain amount of bullying going on here that you wouldn't see elsewhere, and I don't know if I should be worried that he's being bullied or not. But what I do know is that when he moves on with his life, we'll all hate him for it, because he's going to. The word is he's going to go to Saudi Arabia and go and live
Or
with a
Dubai,
sheikh
I mean.
But then leave him alone. You don't need to write. You don't need to write stories about what he's doing.
I really don't want to write or talk about Andy, as he's now known. Again, to be honest with you,
fatigue. Can we just have a quick word? We've got 30 seconds. Paddington the musical.
Yes, Paddington the musical opened at Savoy Theatre last night. It was always a bit like, well, it's a bear, how are you going to make it happen? Rave reviews in all the papers today about how they actually brought the bear to life. No one was quite sure how it's going to do. It's got an actor in it, who's an actress, rather, 4-foot actress, Artie Shah, who is actually in the bear costume. But the singing and the mouth moving is being done by a professional singer and puppeteer from backstage.
Very
so
nice.
combine
It looks
both.
too. Very good. It looks too. Don and Chris, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. Let's have a look at the weather.
Unbelievable.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, and very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week. Quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning, with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board, with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue, though, as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain, generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line, with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that. But it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight. Maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for sharing over 5 million comments on your say. Because when you talk, we listen.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers in Fife are urged to be cautious due to surface water impacting driving conditions. In South Gloucestershire, the M4 eastbound entry slip at junction 20 from the M5 North has one lane closed following a road traffic collision, expected to resolve shortly. Looking further ahead, motorists in Leicestershire on the M1 southbound between junction 22 and junction 21A face lane closures because of a collision, anticipated to clear by 9:15 this morning. And on the trains, there is disruption on the Great Northern and Elena services between London King's Cross and Peterborough. Please plan accordingly. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're giving you the chance to win your entire Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good morning. An heroic rail worker who tried to stop the knife attack aboard a train in Huntington remains in a life-threatening condition.
Now, reports that the man with the knife told passengers the devil is not going to win as he launched a rampage on the train to London.
Well, the suspect was questioned by police last night over the 14-minute stabbing spree, which left 11 people with injuries requiring hospital treatment.
The driver has been praised for diverting the service onto an emergency stop, and it's reckoned that has saved the lives of many people on board.
Well, terrorism has been ruled out, but police are still working on uncovering a motive for the attack.
And that suspect was questioned by detectives last night, as another man who was arrested on Saturday has been released with no further action.
The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, is said to be weighing up more than 100 tax and spending plans as the budget is just 3 weeks away.
The Prince of Wales heads to Brazil today, where he will launch this year's Earthshot Prize.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
More than 30,000 tributes to those lost in conflict have been unveiled at the National Memorial Arboretum.
As violent crime rises and police numbers are falling, today we're asking, is it time to let Britons carry self-defence tools like pepper spray?
In sport, Wolverhampton Wanderers are seeking their 5th permanent manager in 4 years following the sacking of Vitor Pereira. Yannick Sinner has returned to #1 in the world tennis rankings following his victory at the Paris Masters. And India's women are celebrating their first Cricket World Cup title after beating South Africa by 52 runs.
It's a dull, damp and windy start to the week. Are there any signs of brightness on the horizon? I'll have the full forecast a little later on.
Just want to say to you, thank you for starting your day and your week with us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
No Paul Coyte today, but all week we're delighted to welcome Marcus Buckland, who will be presenting the sport for us. Very good to have you on board, my friend.
Thank you very much. I can only apologise that Coyte is not here. I will do my best to be an able replacement.
You're a fellow Spurs man, so...
Yeah, we have two things in common, Coyte and I. We're both Spurs fans, unfortunately, and we both love Billy Joel. Obsessed with Billy Joel, so we have happy things to talk about.
I think those are two good things.
Yeah, well, Spurs sometimes.
Not always.
Is this a bad thing? Because Ellie sees in the papers today that children, they're trash talking and they sound like Americans. They reckon this is a big American influence on our youngsters today. Yeah, you're a father as well, yeah?
I am, and actually my youngest son is at university in the United States.
No hope for you then.
No, well, yeah, he's drifting in that direction.
Is he picking up on American words?
A little bit, yeah, and he's loving the lifestyle. But of course, you get so influenced by everything you watch on television these days. So I guess it's kind of natural. It's going to happen.
It's all the films, isn't it, and YouTube and TV series.
But we used to have so many more British productions and British children's programmes and things, and now it's just not the same, so it's all just American there to influence them.
Apparently teachers are picking up on things, so kids saying candy instead of sweets, elevator instead of a lift. Sorry, I am losing my voice this morning. I'm fighting with my my voice this morning. But yeah, transatlantic accents are creeping into the classrooms.
I mean, do we think this is a bad thing?
Yes, it's dreadful.
Yeah. Ooh,
we should try and stay British. And keep
well,
up
I don't like all that trash cans and
sidewalk
and all that sort of thing. But there we go. There we go.
My theory is Miss Rachel. Are you familiar with Miss Rachel?
No.
She's a YouTuber, and apparently all the kids are addicted to her. And she's really, really good. She does all these YouTube videos for children, but she's got a really thick American accent, and that's how the kids are learning how to speak these days.
OK, well, Marcus will be speaking just before 7:30 today with the sports bulletin. So
yes, it'll be a very English bulletin, I
Very
promise.
good, Marcus. Pleased to hear it.
Leading the news today, a 32-year-old man is being treated as the only suspect of those mass stabbings on that train in Cambridgeshire over the weekend.
Well, the second suspect who was arrested, a 35-year-old man, has since been released.
Authorities say the heroic rail staff member who tried to stop the attack and undoubtedly saved lives remains in a life-threatening condition. 5 others have been discharged from hospital.
Well, meanwhile, the train driver, who's been credited with saving lives by quickly diverting the London-bound train to Huntingdon Station after the alert was raised, has since been identified as Andrew Johnson, an Iraq war veteran.
Well, let's go to our national reporter, Charlie Peters, who's there live at the station in Huntingdon, just assessing how everything's turned out today and the atmosphere there. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning, Eamonn. Good morning, Ellie. Yes, well, the train behind me, that LNER service, that was the 6:25 from Doncaster to London's King's Cross on Saturday evening. It remains in place here. The engine is running. The lights are on inside. The blinds have been pulled down. Just walking down this area where I am now, we've been able to see into the train where so much forensic activity has taken place since Saturday night as the police have worked to establish more details about that frenzied 14-minute stabbing spree on Saturday night. And Huntingdon Station is still active. The passengers aren't able to board trains here, but we're still seeing plenty of commuter trains pass through this morning, going past almost quite eerily this scene of that devastating attack on Saturday night. But while the police activity continues, and there is a significant presence still here, there are a lot of questions for the police about the information that they've released, and also that curious decision, almost a full day after the incident, to release a 35-year-old man with no further action, totally innocent of any involvement, but kept in police custody for almost a full day until being released yesterday. That man from London, totally not involved in Saturday night's attack, but was nonetheless taken into custody, arrested, you'd imagine, on suspicion of attempted murder, and then kept there for almost a full day. And now there is one man still remaining in custody, a black British national, the lone suspect, and footage has circulated not only of the moments when people were fleeing from the train on the platform behind me, but also the moment that he was arrested, seen jumping over a fence near the station, still holding on to what we're told was the knife used in this attack, since taken for forensic assessment by the police before later being stopped by police officers here. And Huntington Station is moments away from the Cambridgeshire Constabulary headquarters. So the train driver involved here, Andrew Johnston, you've referred to, a former Chief Petty Officer of the Royal Navy and Iraq War veteran, made a remarkably quick-thinking decision to call the control room from his cab to divert the train from Peterborough, from the fast tracks onto the slow tracks, so it could stop here at Huntington. It's on the East Coast Main Line, this station, but it's never scheduled to stop on that Doncaster to King's Cross service, with many crediting the decisions of the train driver as saving lives. And there's also another member of the LNER staff who is receiving great plaudits this morning as people continue to react to more information coming out of this attack. That is a member of train staff who acted to put himself in the way of the attacker, we're told, suffering from life-threatening conditions and remaining in hospital this morning, where 5 people have been discharged of the 11 who were originally taken to hospital for care. One, we're told, presented later, with others, 10, being taken directly to hospital by the East of England Ambulance Service on Saturday evening. Well, there is going to be a lot of questions for the police, as they have ruled out swiftly any terrorist motive, but by keeping another man in custody, but also not giving an indication of a potential motive for the other person in custody, that has allowed some degree of online speculation, of course. And also, naturally, a lot of information was already available on Saturday night before British Transport Police gave their update on Sunday morning, leaving some gap that was filled by others. Well, throughout the rest of the country, we are going to see a surge in policing activity, particularly on stations served by LNER. And we're told that police officers will also be aboard those services between London, King's Cross and other major rail terminals. The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, expected to give an update to the House later today.
Cheers, Charlie. Appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. How awful when you think. I mean, imagine if you were on board that and how you would feel. If you felt helpless, afraid, if you want to attack this guy, or, you know, and then people, when they could, they were hiding in the loos.
Yeah, I was reading some of those eyewitness accounts, hiding in the buffet cart and putting down the shutters. A number of people in there, and they could hear the attacker. And other people just running through the train, trying to get to the end of the train. And they were all holding on to each other there. They had nothing to protect themselves with.
Just wondering who's going to be next. You know, we've got Oscar Reddrop here, a former political advisor who's going to be talking about other things, the budget and whatever as well. But Oscar, we're just talking about this. This will be your worst nightmare, and you're in a confined space as well.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah, utterly terrifying, and the almost randomness of it, I think, is something else that's terrifying. And you just said then, Eamonn, in terms of, like, you know, what next, where next? And it does add to a sense, I think a lot of people in this country, and it's very, I do like to steer away from, like, politicising things that are horrific like this. But it does probably add to a sense that a lot of people feel in this country unsafe. It doesn't feel like a safe country at the moment. Was it ever? You know, is that always just, you know, a feeling and that concern? But I think things have got worse and things have changed, and sometimes there is a random violence that is under the surface a lot of the time, and a lot of people will be getting on public transport today and they will feel scared.
Yeah.
And that's not right.
But what can you do to police that? I mean, if we're talking about random acts of violence...
Yeah, you could put scanners on railway stations, for instance. I mean, there's lots of things I think, well, we can't do that because we're British and whatever it is. Put a scanner, detect a knife or a gun for anybody boarding a train. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's a common sense approach, you'd think. I think the other thing as well, which is maybe a harder pill in a way to swallow, is that we probably need to think about things like stop and search more. I think there are, here, as you sit here in London, for example, knife crime and violent crime has completely spun out of control. And it has done for many, many years.
You've just opened a political can of worms there, whatever it is. And I think, I would be, if a police officer stopped and searched me, would I have an issue? No. I wouldn't have an issue with it. I think, there you go, there you are. But that's the situation.
And look,
but it's politicised. That is politicised.
It is politicised, but, when people... If you speak to the mother of, let's say, her child who's been, stabbed to death, and we see that to horrific numbers in major cities across this country, including London, if you ask that mother, would you have liked a police officer to been out there who stops and searched the person who killed your son? I mean, that's the end of it, as far as I'm aware. So I think we do need to be tougher. We do need things like stop and search. I think the problem with the scanning thing, if I was to is that it can, you're almost punishing, and I use that term loosely, those that... You're inconveniencing, and for the bad apples, if you like, we all have to go. Law-abiding citizens who just want to get on with their life all have to suffer an inconvenience.
Well, Oscar, I would say it's better than being dead.
Well, I would agree. I just had to kind of give that devil's advocate, listen, but I would agree. But how depressing.
Give me your take on the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. Right, we're 3 weeks away from this budget, and she's got to raise money in so many different ways to make up the deficit and the black hole that she's talking about. Where's she going to get it from?
Us. Anyone earning £45,000 or more, if the briefings are to be believed. I find it staggering that the rolling the pitch, and that's the term you hear a lot of politicos talk about ahead of big announcement, where they need to gradually get both politicians and the general public comfortable with bad news. I find the idea of rolling that pitch by saying, yeah, we've got about 100 tax and spend ideas that we've chucked in the air at the moment. We're 3 weeks away from the budget, and we don't quite know which one we're going to pick.
Well, the amount of briefing, it doesn't instill you with confidence, does it?
Not at all. Not at all. No confidence whatsoever. It has been inevitable that these tax rises were going to come, unfortunately, I think, for many, 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 many months now. And why is that? Ultimately, that's because the government have given up being able to inject any growth or productivity into the country. OK, maybe fair enough, if I'm being generous. That is a tough ask after only 16 months. But then, on the other side of things, they don't have the bottle or the will to cut spending. And so then you're in this little corridor, which has Rachel Reeves and number 11 walking up it, knocking on all of our doors saying, we're going to need some more of your cash. And I think that is thoroughly depressing. And I think there's going to be real anger out there. Real anger out there.
Do you think it's a guarantee now that they're going to breach their manifesto pledge not to raise income tax?
Yeah.
Because John Healey was asked on the media round yesterday and wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, no, for certain. Which again, is scandalous. I think what they will say is, well, look, times have changed. That was 16 months ago, and X, Y, and Z have happened. So we're having to refocus. And yes, we're breaking that manifesto pledge, but also, guys, our manifesto said change, and in order to force through that change, we're going to have to come in and take some cash out of your pockets, unfortunately. And the question I would ask, with the best will in the world, I don't want people to think, oh, he's a low-tax Tory kind of... But, putting that aside, the question I would ask is, do you trust this government with your money? Have they shown you
that they know how to generate wealth? And they haven't shown that.
Exactly. And have they shown, all right, I'll give you that extra money every single month out of my, my paycheck. I trust that you're going to spend it wisely on public services, and you know how to manage that process and those services well. Have they shown that to you? If the answer is no, then you should be furious come the end of the month when this budget and tax rises are inevitably announced.
OK. Oscar, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your take on things.
Now, elsewhere, the Prince of Wales says he's excited to experience Brazil's vibrant culture as he starts his first official visit to the Latin American country.
Now, he's hosting the annual Earthshot Prize. This is his 5th time doing that, and he will represent his father at a major international climate conference as well.
Well, our royal correspondent Cameron Walker sent this report from Brazil.
Rio, a bustling hive of culture, beach life and excitement. And the buzz is building as the city prepares for a special royal guest. The Prince of Wales is a popular icon, even thousands of miles away from home, as Britain's ambassador to Brazil explains.
The royal family is very well known here, and His Royal Highness in particular as well. So coming here to Rio, iconic city, there's a lot of interest and there's a lot of excitement. I think we'll see a lot of Brazilians out on the street coming to say hello.
By bringing his Earthshot Prize to the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Prince William's spreading his environmental message far and wide, cementing his position as a global statesman.
The King's personally written to Brazil's president ahead of his son's visit and is understood to be particularly interested in William's Earthshot Prize, finding solutions to repair the planet, avoiding climate scaremongering. And in its first half-decade, Britain's businesses are making strides.
An Enzo tyre is black, it's round, it has a hole in the middle. But the secret is what we put in it.
Enzo, which makes sustainable tyres, has landed major deals with Uber and Transport for London.
Having Prince William talk about the problem we're trying to solve, making electric cars more successful by reducing their cost and reducing their environmental impact, is critical.
And Notpla, whose seaweed packaging has exploded due to Prince William's personal phone bashing.
With all of his connections in football, he was able to really make us kind of like more visible to some of those people who started adopting Notpla. And fast forward to today, we have over 60 stadiums using Notpla. We've replaced 30 million single-use plastics to date.
The Prince of Wales says he's excited to experience Brazil's vibrant culture. Today, he'll receive a real Brazilian welcome before the hard work begins. Cameron Walker, GB News in Rio de Janeiro.
Well, Cameron gets all the good jobs.
And just thanks for your comments this morning, having your say on this. There was a French train stabbing. Peter tells us it was stopped by an American serviceman. Maybe this is trying to tell us something. Here's a free idea that Starmer will completely ignore. Give the ex-military service people free train passes, as they know what to do in these circumstances.
There's something to be said for that, because this train driver is an Iraq war veteran, and he is being heralded, isn't he, for protecting the passengers, for thinking quickly, for getting the train stop at Huntington. It was an unscheduled stop. He could have saved many lives in doing so, but he stayed calm and made that decision. So something to be said there for ex-servicemen.
Rex is saying he's talking about carrying some sort of weapon. Ordinary members of the public need to carry the means to protect themselves and others, regardless of the law. I won't leave the house nowadays without such means. Ooh.
Jazzy's saying the same thing. We need to be able to defend ourselves, pepper spray at the very least. And Ian says, Eamonn, because you were talking about the use of knife archers at stations. He says, Eamonn, if we were to support the use of knife archers and other oppressive security at train stations, then in the very words of the attacker, the devil does win.
No, he doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's better having a knife arch than people dead and people stabbed. I mean, I could think of just nothing that must have been more frightening than what happened there on Friday night. So let us know your thoughts. Keep them coming in as we go to the weather picture. Jonathan Vautry with that on this Monday morning.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, and very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week, quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board, with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally you will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue though as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that, but it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight, maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now do stay with us. Still to come, we'll bring you the very latest on that attack on a train in Huntington with our reporter Charlie Peters, who's on the scene for us.
But before that, with a rise in violent crime and police numbers falling, today we're asking, is it time to be able to carry self-defence tools like pepper spray? Your views very welcome. Next.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
We're going to have a bit of a debate about these mass train stabbings over the weekend, and basically asking, if you were armed, if you had something to defend yourself with, would it make a difference?
Yes, because violent crime is continuing to soar. Police numbers are also falling. So this morning we're asking, is it time to let Britons carry self-defence tools like pepper spray?
Well, joining us is Special Investigations Editor at the Daily Mail, and that's Sue Reid, who we say good morning to.
Good morning.
Hi, Sue. And author and academic Lisa Mackenzie. Very good to see you. Now, Sue, you actually think, like a lot of our viewers and listeners do today, that you should be carrying something for your own defence.
Well, I'm particularly interested in the rape figures, actually, which are off the scale.
Yeah.
There's been a six-fold increase in the number of rape offences recorded by police in England and Wales since 2013. Now, the fact is, I don't think a pepper spray would have helped, and I think all women should be allowed to carry pepper sprays. It wouldn't have helped in the Huntingdon situation, but I'm also interested and worried about the rape figures. We're not allowing women to live their lives without some form of defence. You cannot tell them that they can go about their lives normally without anything when these rape figures are off the scale.
Yeah. OK, it's interesting you say you don't think it would make any difference carrying a pepper spray. I disagree with you. I think anything as a deterrent would be good. But I know, Lisa, you do agree with what Sue's saying there about something like a pepper spray.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't think we should be carrying it, or we shouldn't. I think we've got to have a better debate about this.
Yeah.
So a knee-jerk reaction of sort of, right, we all need to tool up in some way. I understand why people feel that way. I feel quite worried now about getting on a train. And I also feel very worried about the rape figures as well. They are off the scale. But I think a better conversation, an honest conversation, Eamonn, where we start to look at, what is happening? Where are the hot spots? Who is it that are committing these crimes? And what else can we do? The knee-jerk reaction about pepper spray, we've had it before. It never happens. And, I'm always wary about saying people can tool up, because if I can tool up, somebody who wants to harm me can also tool up.
So is this a knee-jerk reaction?
I don't think it is a knee-jerk reaction. I think it's a debate that should be happening and should have happened a long time ago. I find it unbelievable that female politicians are demanding the most extraordinary protection, expensive protection, and yet their fellow women out in the streets trying to go running or live their lives, travelling on public transport, of course, should not be protected. I find it two-tier, and I don't like it at all. In fact, I object strongly.
So, Sue, what kind of protections would you like women to be able to use? Are we talking pepper spray? Are we talking something more?
We're very, very rare in the world now not allowing women to have pepper spray. I believe only Canada and ourselves don't allow it. And it's an outdated act. It was a badly worded act stopping the spraying of noxious substances, a firearms act. And times have moved on. I mean, I think it's 30 years ago this pepper spray ban came in. I mean, times have moved on. Britain has changed.
Well, let's hear from Lisa. Yeah. Lisa, how do you think women should defend themselves? How does anybody, anybody who was sitting on that train at the weekend, how would anybody be able to reach for anything? And do you think anything would have made a difference?
Do you know what? I think in this case, I don't think anything would have made a difference. We'd got a person whose purpose was to harm people. I live in Nottingham, and remember we had a similar attack in Nottingham a few years ago. And when we've got individuals in our society that are violent, but also known to the police, known to the services, and are being allowed to walk around amongst us, It's not the pepper spray that we need. What we need is a proper police service, a proper mental health service, a proper terrorism department that actually understands what's happening and keeps us safe. And I think that is what's wrong with us. We have institutions now who are not keeping us safe. And whether that is because they're allowing men coming from other countries and allowing them to roam around our communities because they live in hotels or HMOs. I think it's a debate about how our communities now work, which obviously they are not.
They're not working. And listening to both of you both have your concerns. Scary times, I would say. I think we're all in agreement with that. Scary times. Ladies, got to leave it there. Thanks for your contributions. Really appreciate them. Our viewers and listeners will respond, having their say throughout the morning. But for the moment, thank you both very much indeed.
Yeah, lots of you getting in touch already. George saying, thanks, lady, saying, I would give women tasers, small ones that can be used. Lots of them are available online. Jackie says, if we're allowed something like pepper spray, then the murderers out there, the muggers, the rapists will also be able to buy it. Jack says, I've spent the weekend looking up self-defence sprays. I travel regularly between London and Peterborough. And Sheila says, not necessarily for myself, but I would sleep easier if I knew that my daughters had some sort of protection when they're walking home in these dark nights.
Right, let's hit the break. Sport next. Wolves are looking for their 5th permanent manager in 4 years. We'll be discussing that and more next with Marcus.
Thank you so much for helping us to reach 8 million followers and subscribers across our social media channels. That's 8 million fearless Brits standing up for what really matters.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Motorists in Fife should be cautious due to surface water making roads slippery. On the M4 eastbound from Tredegar Park to Malpass, congestion is causing delays. In Leicestershire, a collision on the M1 southbound between Junction 22 and Junction 21A has closed 2 lanes. Delays are expected until around 11:15 this morning. In South Gloucestershire, a collision on the M4 eastbound entry slip at Junction 20 from the M5 north has closed 1 lane. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast reports major disruption between Carlisle and Preston. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored. Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable. What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's sports time. Paul Coyte's off for the week, so we're joined by sports broadcaster Marcus Buckland, who's here with us all week. Morning to Marcus.
And Marcus, we've got football to start with from yesterday and repercussions over the weekend for Wolves.
Yes.
Who are looking really bad at the bottom of the league. 2 points.
2 points from 10 games. No Premier League team has ever avoided relegation after such a bad start.
Yeah.
So it's come as no surprise. And they're back in a familiar position. This is the 5th time in 4 years that they are seeking a permanent manager. So it keeps going wrong for them.
Would Brendan Rodgers be on that list? You know, OK, we see relegation's a search, but you could take the team over and you could come up with a title next year, back into the Premier League?
It's possible. He's definitely on that list. There's a long list. In fact, Southampton also sacked their manager yesterday, Will Still, and the same names are on both lists.
Yes.
But Gary O'Neill, who was in charge at Wolves and did well initially, he's available at the moment. So there is some theory, some talk that he could be a good short-term option. Rob Edwards, who used to play for Wolves currently at Middlesbrough, is another name in the frame, and so too is Kevin Muscat. I know a lot of Wolves fans would like to see.
Do you know what's difficult? You go back 3 years or so ago with Wolves, and they were flying. They were really, really strong. Molyneux's a great ground, great atmosphere, and whatever. And then we get this.
What's gone wrong?
Well, it's really strange because when Pereira came in, they were in big trouble last season. He led them on this fantastic run and he became quite famous. He used to go to the pub with the fans after the game. They get 3 points and then he'd go and have 3 pints with them. And he was given a new contract in September. The board were desperate for him to do well because he did galvanise them last season, but they sold a lot of players in the summer, including Cunha to Manchester United. So they lost the heart of their team and the replacements certainly haven't gelled yet.
Would he decide that, or does the board decide that? I mean, you know, is he told to sell them? Do they want
I think he had little option, and I understand that in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, he wishes he'd gone in the summer because I think he sort of knew what was coming next.
And what is coming next. But good win for West Ham yesterday.
Yes, we've got West Ham fans all over the place this morning getting very, very overexcited because they finally managed to win a home game. But it was impressive. It was against Newcastle, who, of course, were in the Champions League, though their manager, Eddie Howe, said we were poor. He said he could have taken anybody off yesterday. They've played a lot of games of late, but it's a first win for Nuno Espirito Santo, first home win, and the Hammers are happy again for now.
And a good result for Man City as well.
Yeah, and for those who don't want Arsenal to win the league, and there are a few, Manchester City need to keep winning. They've climbed into second place. Erling Haaland, I mean, the guy is unbelievable. He's scored 26 goals this season for club and country. So
you say for those who don't want Arsenal to win the league, I don't want Arsenal, I don't want Man City, I don't want Liverpool. Bournemouth maybe are sitting in fourth place, maybe?
Yeah, they're not going to survive. I know who you want to win the title, but that's not going to happen either at the moment.
No, it's not. But then you can't have all these. I mean, look at that. Spurs sitting in, what, 5th, 6th place? Chelsea, it's awful. Sunderland, maybe. Then Man United. Then the big names come in. Natural order should be resumed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, OK. Right, got to leave it there. But when we come back, we're going to be talking tennis. We're going to be talking about cricket and a few other things besides. For the moment, Marcus, thank you very much.
Now, it's never too early to think about the festive season, so how would you like to have your Christmas on us this year?
£40,000 worth of us, tax-free cash, Christmas of your dreams, £1,000 included in that to spend on a luxurious Christmas lunch.
It would be luxury, wouldn't it?
It would be. Have a go.
We're giving you the chance to win your entire Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. And the best news, you'll get it all in time for for the big day. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
And good luck if you're getting your teeth done in Turkey, because army forces are being told not to be tempted by turkey teeth.
Yeah, we're going to get all the details on that one with Chris Agabusi and Dawn Neeson. That's next. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's a slightly mixed picture across the Mediterranean at the moment. We've seen a band of rain across Eastern Europe that's now slipping its way into Greece tomorrow, so if you are heading out there, don't forget the umbrella. But many other central areas seeing some quite nice sunshine, but there's another band of rain beginning to push into western Portugal and northwestern Spain. This coming quite soon after they've had localised flooding last week, so there could be some further issues there. That rain band will slip across other areas of Spain, but elsewhere staying largely dry.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
We do have problems in the UK at the moment, but I will say I don't think it's all doom and gloom. We have great safety nets here, strict protections to protect and help children. We have free education ranking 4th in the world for universities as well. Free NHS, dodgy as it may be sometimes. And we also have a lot of culture, history and green spaces, which I think is really important. 74% of children said that they can walk to a park or green space near them. So I don't think it's all that bad, but I do think we have lost our sense of community, and that's something that we need to work on.
Why do you think it is that so many fewer people are having children now? I mean, the birthing, the sort of fertility crisis that this country has entered into, to be fair, matching basically all of the developed world, fewer and fewer people are having children.
I don't think it's just about the money. I think there's actually a huge social media rise of child-free influencers. I don't know if you've seen any of these, but they're just very anti-children.
They call them dinks. Have you heard of dinks? Double income, no kids.
Oh, yeah. It's very interesting. And I think it's, you know, we look at somewhere like Somalia, where they have around average 5 children per family. They have virtually no benefit system, no pension system. Their children are their pension. And so I think in the UK, maybe we have too many options. People, I'm not saying it's all avocado on toast, but I think people are just really not seeing it as a popular option.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Got some breaking news for you now that emergency services have been called to a train derailment near Shap in Cumbria. We've just had a statement on social media from the train firm Avanti West Coast, who says, due to derailed train between Penrith North Lakes and Oxenholme Lake District, all lines are blocked. We're strongly advising customers not to travel north of Preston today. So that breaking news in the past few minutes, that emergency services have been called to a train derailment near Shap in Cumbria. That's from North West Ambulance Service.
Well, we hope everybody's safe. We have no reports of injuries yet on that, but we'll keep you posted as we progress. We're going to progress now with Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi. They've got the stories that are jumping out of the newspapers today. And Dawn, tax, first of all, we've been previewing what options are open to Rachel Reeves in 3 weeks' time. But this is quite scary because you think you've no money and then if you look at the figures, you realise why you have no money.
Well, yeah, quite. This is quite frightening. This is Taxpayers Alliance research has shown that the average family will pay nearly £1.3 million tax over their lifetime, including almost £600,000 in income tax. And that research doesn't include other major tax increases that are coming in. So it's going to be... And we don't know what Rachel's going to do yet. Every single day there is a whole list of stories about what she's going to potentially target. But if she does touch the basic rate of income tax, which of course they promised they wouldn't do, but hey-ho, it will be the first basic rate increase since 1975 and obviously breaches that manifesto promise. But this thing that they've suddenly discovered that anyone earning more than £46,000 more a year is wealthy. That includes HGV drivers. I mean, if you are my dad drove lorries. If you're an HGV driver, I mean, I want to know how wealthy you feel this morning.
They won't feel rich, will they?
It's just a ridiculous, just a random number that plucked out of nowhere. And it involves, you know, people like chefs and teachers and just ordinary people. And it's like, and considering now there are more ordinary people not working than there are working in this country at the moment, it's just like, it is a frightening where we're going with this budget.
How are you supposed to get on, Chris? How are you supposed to find a job and save and work hard and do overtime? Tax. And that's not even counting the indirect taxes, the value-added tax, the tax on foods out there and all sorts of things.
There's a tax on what you spend. Yeah, everything you purchase is taxed. I was surprised that I don't know why, but, you know, when I saw that £1.3 million average family, and I think it's because I'm still connected to the youth for whom £1 million was a lot of money. Yeah. You were a millionaire. Mm-hmm. But to realise that actually, I mean, OK, it's over a lifetime. You know, it could be 50 years of work. But to see that the majority of people earn £1 million quid... not earn, pay £1 million in tax. Yeah. Over a lifetime. Yeah. That is just an outstanding number.
Why they want everything that we earn or put our hands on, they want it logged. They want it digitally logged so that you can't... They hate cash.
That's 100%. I guess what it is, again, now, just correcting myself as I'm thinking, is, again, I was brought up in a world where one person went to work and one person was at home. But I guess now with the average family, it's a double income family, maybe with no kids, no children. Wow, we are really paying a lot of tax. I mean, that's the thing that came to me, is that...
It's painful reading.
When you think of 1.3...
And that's now, and that's before this budget comes in.
Yeah. It could be worse, yeah.
But she's terrified.
Much greater.
She's terrified of the left of the party to make the cuts that do need to be made.
Well, she can't make the cuts.
She can't.
She just won't allow
She did say we maybe will be considering it for the next term of Parliament.
No, cuts. Talk about cuts. Animals. Couples told to get involved in a pet-nup because animals are increasingly, Dawn, featuring in divorce cases.
Yes, because what a lot of people don't realise, as much as we love our pets, our cats and our dogs, that basically when it comes to divorce, they're just the same as your sofa or your bed or your furniture. And what counts...
Property, aren't they?
They are property. They're not sort of like a member of the family.
But they are a member of the family.
Yeah. I know, but they're not... But
I mean, I'm very lucky. In my case, I'm not well enough to be able to bend down and look after our dog. But, gosh, I wouldn't like to be ever in that situation. We had choice or fight like that.
20 odd years ago, when I went through a divorce, there's no way that anybody was having my dog.
No.
Absolutely.
How can you ensure that?
Yeah, do you have to fight for your dog?
No, because actually it was my dog.
Oh.
And, you know, while he tolerated the family, his name was Dillinger. Dillinger the dopey Doberman.
Oh.
Dillinger Doberman. There's no way. I mean, everybody knew it's Papa's dog.
The point I was making there, Dawn, is that it is like a member of your family.
Yeah.
It's love that you're certainly not getting from your partner.
That's exactly, that's exactly the point of this story. Legal experts are now planning to lobby Parliament to get pets, certainly dogs in particular, to be recognised as sentient members of the family rather than just an object.
It should be like children, shouldn't it? It's almost like you've got custody and you come up with a custody plan.
But they are sentient members of the family. The dogs have got a hierarchy. They know who's the gaffer. They know who puts the food out. They feel the energy and the love. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, hope you're feeling our energy and love, and we'll see you again in 40 minutes' time, guys. Thank you very much indeed.
Here's the weather with Jonathan Bawtry.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, and very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week, quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue though as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that, but it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight, maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the UK. We're truly humbled, and we couldn't have done it without you.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers in Fife should be cautious due to surface water. An overturned vehicle on the M6 southbound between junctions 27 and 26 in Wigan causes about 20 minutes of delay. The M1 southbound in Leicestershire between junctions 22 and 21A has delays with 2 lanes closed due to a collision. The M54 eastbound in Staffordshire between junctions 3 and 2 faces a 40-minute delay from a collision. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast reports major disruption between Carlisle and Preston, while Great Northern services have issues between London, King's Cross and Peterborough. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We could be delivering the perfect Christmas to you this year. There's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 the best year yet. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family. There's £1,000 to spend in your favourite supermarket. And a festively themed GB News goodie bag, and we'll get it all to you in time for the big day. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first. GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, is led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward, and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense.
Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Hello there. An heroic rail worker who tried to stop the knife attack on board that train in Huntingdon remains in a life-threatening condition.
Well, reports that the attacker told passengers the devil is not going to win as he launched an attack on the high-speed train to London.
The suspect was questioned by police last night over the 14-minute stabbing spree, which left 11 people with injuries requiring hospital treatment.
Well, the driver of that train has been praised for diverting the service into an emergency stop, saving the lives of many passengers.
Although terrorism has been ruled out, police are still working on uncovering a motive for the attack.
After that 14-minute stabbing frenzy of horror, we are hearing about some of the heroism of those working to save those on board.
Elsewhere, emergency services have been called to a train derailment near Shap in Cumbria. Passengers are being advised not to travel north of Preston today. We'll bring you the very latest as we have them.
The Chancellor is said to be weighing up more than 100 tax and spending plans as the budget is just 3 weeks away.
The Prince of Wales heads to Brazil today, where he will launch this year's Earthshot Prize.
The going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
More than 30,000 tributes to those lost in conflict have been unveiled at the National Memorial Arboretum.
And in sport, Gary O'Neill and Brendan Rodgers are two of the names in the frame to succeed Victor Pereira following his sacking as Wolves manager after Saturday's defeat at Fulham. Victory in the Paris Masters final has taken Yannick Sinner back to the top of the tennis world, and a 45,000 sellout crowd cheered India's women to their first Cricket World Cup triumph. They beat South Africa by 52 runs.
It's a dull, damp and windy start to the week. Are there any signs of brightness on the horizon? I'll have the full forecast a little later on.
Hello there on this Monday morning. Thank you for starting your week and your day with us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast.
And guys, I know you're leading with this awful story of the train incident on Saturday evening. A sporting connection, there were a lot of Nottingham Forest fans on that train after the game against Manchester United. And the Forest owner, Evangelos Marinakis, has just made an interesting announcement saying that he's going to fund, or the club will fund, the medical care for any Forest fans who've been caught up directly in that horrendous incident, which is a nice touch. The football club.
Yeah, really nice.
That's good to know. Thanks, Marcus, and we'll see you in 20 minutes' time with the sports news. So a 32-year-old man is being treated as the only suspect of that stabbing on that train in Cambridgeshire. The second suspect arrested, also 35, has been released.
Well, the authorities say the heroic rail staff member who tried to stop the attack and undoubtedly saved lives remains in a life-threatening condition in hospital. 5 others have been discharged.
Meanwhile, the train driver, who's been credited with saving lives by diverting the train to Huntingdon station after the alert was raised, has been identified as Andrew Johnson. Andrew is an Iraqi war veteran.
Well, let's speak now to our national reporter, Charlie Peters, who joins us now live in Huntingdon. Morning to you, Charlie, and what's the scene looking like there?
Well, good morning, Eamonn and Ellie. Yes, the LNER service, that Class 800 Azuma train behind us, has now had its lights turned off, and it's still having all the blinds pulled down, as it has since we arrived on the scene a few hours ago this morning. That train would have been passing as it always does, at 125 miles per hour through this station on a normal scheduled service from Doncaster to London's King's Cross. But on Saturday evening, it was heroically diverted onto the slow tracks by the train driver Andrew Johnson, who, upon hearing that the alarm had been pulled in the middle of this train, reacted by engaging with the signallers and also the control room with LNER to ensure that the train was diverted onto the slow tracks and arrived here at Huntingdon after that 14-minute stabbing frenzy that was taking place on board, leaving 11 people injured. Andrew Johnson, a former Chief Petty Officer of the Royal Navy, his quick thinking undoubtedly saved lives because it allowed the emergency services to more readily arrive at this location. It also helped the passengers to flee the scene because instead of exiting the train in the middle of nowhere in Cambridgeshire, instead they arrived on a platform. And it's also the actions of another LNER employee have been praised overnight by British Transport Police, describing how, having reviewed the CCTV footage on board, they said that another staff member's actions were nothing short of heroic and that he undoubtedly saved lives. We've heard eyewitness accounts of how that staff member got between the attacker and those fleeing for their lives. That man, that lone suspect, remains in police custody. A 35-year-old from London was released last night.
OK. Charlie Peters, thank you very much for that update.
Let's go back to that breaking news just coming in. The Transport Secretary has said that a major incident has been declared following a train derailment near Shap. That's in Cumbria, but there are no reported injuries, which is a very good thing so far. Emergency services have been called to that train derailment, Shap in Cumbria, as we were saying. We'll bring you more information on that as we get it.
Yep, North West Ambulance Service says it sent paramedics to the scene of the village. Major disruption expected until the end of the day. Their priority, obviously, is ensuring that people receive the medical help that they need, but no reported injuries thus far. Well, let's cross over to Westminster now, where Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp joins us now. Good morning to you, Mr Philp.
Good morning.
And can we just get your thoughts on that breaking news, that train derailment in Cumbria? The Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, declaring it a major incident, but saying that there are no reported injuries.
Well, I mean, let's hope that remains the case. We should obviously give the emergency services all the support they need in responding to the incident. And, of course, we'll need to find out in due course how it is that train got derailed in the first place to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Can I ask you about the situation on Saturday, your reaction to that knife attack aboard a train at Huntingdon on Saturday evening? What's your thoughts on what we saw on Saturday night?
Well, obviously a horrific attack that will have shocked and horrified the whole country. Our thoughts obviously are with the families of the victims and the victims themselves. There were clearly some extraordinary acts of individual heroism by passengers and staff on the train who acted to protect fellow passengers from what could have been an even worse atrocity. And we learn, of course, that the train driver thought very quickly by stopping at the station rather than either carrying on or stopping between stations, which enabled the police to then intervene at Huntingdon Station itself. But look, I think what this does highlight is the problem our country faces with knife crime. There were something like 250 homicides, murders enabled by knives last year. That is obviously far too high, and we need a much tougher approach to fighting knife crime in general.
And Chris, would it be too much of an inconvenience, bearing in mind what you've just said there, to instigate scanners at, say, train stations? In other words, that you wouldn't be able to board unless you go through a scanner and it lets out whether you're carrying something sharp or a knife or whatever it happens to be?
Well, I think full airport-style security would probably be too much across the hundreds or even thousands of stations across the United Kingdom. There was some technology, and of course if you have an X-ray machine that won't distinguish between a knife versus a mobile phone or keys or whatever, or a laptop. There was some technology that when I was a minister in the Home Office I was funding, which was to develop scanners which could distinguish knives from other metal objects like keys or mobile phones. Now that technology wasn't quite developed enough to use on the streets a year and a half ago, but I'm hoping that the new team in the Home Office have continued to fund that, because if there was technology that could be used to scan people and it could tell the difference between a knife versus a mobile phone, that would be valuable potentially in train stations, but also just on the street for police to use to identify people walking down a high street carrying a knife. So that technology needs investment. We do also need, to be honest, more stop and search, because stop and search does take knives off the streets. The use of stop and search has declined a lot recently, particularly in London under Sadiq Khan. And in London, I think stop and search has gone down by something like 60%, and at the same time, during Sadiq Khan's mayoralty, at the same time, knife crime in London up by 86%. So we do need more stop and search.
That's a hot potato. How are you going to handle that? That's a hot potato. You know, and I know that you'll be branded as being racist and whatever to come out with stop and search. I was used to stop and search my whole life, right? I was used to it as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, whatever. Personally, I had no issue with it. My point always was, if you're not carrying anything, what are you worried about? And it should put other people off from carrying something. But it is a political hot potato.
Well, I think it's a political hot potato we need to grasp, because stop and search takes knives off the streets. I was talking to Mark Rowley, the commissioner, a little while ago, and a few years ago, he was telling me it took 400 knives a month off the streets of London. And look, on the question of disproportionality, if you measure the proportionality of stop and search and compare it to the offending population, and indeed the population of people who are victims of knife crime, the disproportionality disappears. If you look at the success rate of stop and search, so the percentage of stop and searches resulting in knives or drugs being found, that success, which in London is about 30%, 30% of stop and searches find something, and that 30% figure, it's about the same, give or take a percent, across all different groups. Now, if a particular group were getting unfairly picked on, you'd expect that percentage to be lower, but it's not, it's about the same. So I don't think it's being used unfairly. And if police officers or if politicians like Sadiq Khan or left-wing politicians hold back from stop and search, it leaves more knives on the street and it put lives at risk.
Just wanted, before we move on to other things, I just want to say, if you're watching or listening, you've got a view on stop and search, you're affected adversely by it or positively by it, please do let us know, have your say, get in touch, and we will reflect that. Sorry, Ellie.
Mr. Phil, do we need to legalise pepper spray? Because one thing that is quite stark, coming from the eyewitnesses and the passengers aboard that train on Saturday, was they had nothing to defend themselves with.
I think that's quite an interesting idea, to allow people to carry some form of pepper spray, as I think in other countries like the USA it is allowed. Obviously, you'd have to be clear that using it would only be permissible in self-defence, obviously, and you have to make sure that the spray didn't cause any lasting damage. But you know what? It's not a bad idea, and I think it merits real consideration. And I know particularly, like, women would probably feel a bit safer if they knew they had something like that to protect themselves with.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's going to be a big speech from Nigel Farage today, and he's going to talk about public spending and his efforts to get it under control. Basically, what he's saying, which I'm sure you'll disagree with, Chris, is that reform can be trusted to manage the economy.
Well, I think he's got a bit of a cheek, hasn't he, saying that? Look, I mean, at the last election, Reform had a manifesto with, I think it was tens of billions, possibly even over £100 billion of unfunded commitments. I think, even today, Reform are proposing to actually increase welfare spending. In fact, we should be cutting welfare spending. They propose to get rid of the two-child benefit cap. So hard-working taxpayers who can't afford to have more than 2 children themselves have to pay taxes so somebody else can have 4, 5 or 6 children. That is completely unfair. Reform and the left wing of the Labour Party are completely wrong about that. It is not only unfair and immoral to have hard-working taxpayers subsidise somebody else to have 5 kids, it's also financially irresponsible as well. Their numbers, I'm afraid, don't add up. There is only one party that has a responsible plan for the economy to reduce welfare spending, which we've got to do, and use some of that reduction in welfare spending to cut taxes. The only party prepared to take the difficult choices needed to do that is the Conservative Party. Both Labour and Reform want to increase welfare spending, which is completely irresponsible in my view.
Well, meanwhile, we're hearing that the Chancellor is looking to target those earning more than £45,000 a year in order to plug this black hole, which may be closer to 30 billion. What do you make of that as a plan?
Well, I think it's a terrible plan, to be quite honest. The Labour Party fought the last election promising not to increase our taxes, and it turns out that was a complete lie. At the last budget, they put through the biggest set of tax increases in a generation to fund all the extra welfare payments mainly, which is a complete, in my view, not a good use of our taxpayers' money at all. And now, because all of their previous tax increases have destroyed jobs, unemployment's going up, and it's pushing down economic growth. It's driving people to leave the country. That in turn has created another gap in the government's finances. And what's she going to do to fill that gap? She's going to put taxes up again, probably for lots and lots of people. And it's going to get into this doom loop, a hamster wheel of doom, where taxes go up, that destroys jobs, destroys growth. And that means they've got to put taxes up even more to fill the hole. We're in this horrendous doom loop. And Rachel Reeves, I think, is going to make it even worse at her budget. These tax rises are, they're wrong. We're overtaxed already. These tax rises will destroy jobs. They'll push successful people out of the country. They'll push down growth and make the economy worse. They'll make us all poorer. They'll put prices up because, of course, businesses will end up increasing prices in response. It is a terrible idea, and it's all happening because Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer and the Labour Party are too weak to get spending down, particularly spending on welfare. Every single day, 5,000 extra people come onto the welfare rolls. 6.5 million adults getting paid not to work. Completely unacceptable. And that is why our taxes are going up.
Chris Philp, you are the Shadow Home Secretary. We thank you for your time and your comments this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, joining us now is GB News political correspondent Olivia Utley, who joins us in the studio now. Morning to you, Liv. What do you make of what you just heard there from Chris Philp?
Unfortunately, I didn't hear what Chris Philp was saying.
Sorry about that. Well, he's talking about Rachel Reeves' plans. Should we talk about that?
Rachel Reeves' plans,
So targeting people earning more than £45,000.
Yes, obviously during the run-up to the election last year, the Chancellor and the Prime Minister said that they wouldn't be raising taxes on working people. It was very difficult to get a definition out of them about what working people meant. They now seem to have decided that tax rises, and it very much sounds as though there will be tax rises, possibly an income tax, which they explicitly ruled out over the election campaign. But those tax rises will target those earning more than £45,000. Now, that would target the top third of workers. I think lots of people would say that people earning £45,000 are very much workers. In fact, someone like a senior sister in a hospital, a senior nurse, earns around £46,000, and that's not in London. So you're getting really ordinary people, ordinary workers, tangled up in these higher prices. This is because Rachel Reeves has this £30 billion black hole to fill. She is talking about perhaps raising income tax by 2p, but at the same time lowering national insurance by 2p. That sounds as though it would be net neutral. Actually, what it would be is a raid on pensioners who don't pay national insurance but do pay income tax. She's also talking about raising a mansions tax on homes that are worth more than £2 million and extending, I'm sure she's going to do this, extend the freeze on income tax thresholds. That would raise about £7 billion. So that means that the amount that you start paying, the higher rate of income tax, has been frozen for 10 years. It looks like it's going to be frozen again. That's known as a stealth tax. It doesn't actually raise the headline rate, but it means that more people are dragged into paying more money. That would raise £7 billion. But we're looking at a £30 billion black hole. So I think what she is going to have to do, this is what Treasury sources are saying, is raise income tax, raise the base rate of income tax. That would be the first time since 1975 that any Chancellor has done that. There is, of course, a chance that the Treasury is deliberately briefing out that this is their plan, and then when budget day comes, whatever measures they do announce won't be quite as bad, so they're kind of managing expectations. But at the moment, I think we should all be braced for a raise in income tax.
Olivia, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Let's just break off and get the weather update, see what it's going to be like as we start the week. Jonathan Bawtry.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, and very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week. Quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board, with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue though as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that, but it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight, maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Yo ho ho! Yes, Christmas could be on us.
It really could
be on us. This is our Great British giveaway, and it's all Christmassy. What's involved?
Well, 40 grand in tax-free cash. That's a good start, isn't it? Then £1,000 for your Christmas dinner. So I think that will go quite a long way. And a GB News goodie bag as well, which is the best part. So here are all of the details that you need.
We're giving you the chance to win your entire Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash so you can have a brilliant new year. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, the decorations, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. And the best news? You'll get it all in time for the big day. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us, still to come. We're going to be joined by one of Virginia Giuffre's biggest critics, who is now suing her and her estate, accusing her of fabricating stories about their experience in the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to be speaking to that person next.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Prince William has launched this new national suicide prevention campaign around the country, £1 million of funding, helping organisations in each country within the United Kingdom. In order to launch it, he spoke to one mother with a very powerful story and actually got the most emotional I've ever seen him. So let's take a look at that clip, if we can.
Just like to sit him down like this and just say, why didn't you come to me? Because he's missed out on just so much joy and we would have been okay. You okay?
I'm sorry, it's hard to ask you questions.
I know.
Hard
and you've experienced loss yourself.
So that lazy Rianne there, her 1-year-old son died of pneumonia. And 5 days later, her husband, the son's father, took his own life. He killed himself. And what Rhiannon was telling the prince there was why she didn't have any signs. Why didn't you talk to me about this? Why didn't you say that you were struggling? And that's why the prince got so emotional. Of course, he's campaigned a lot for mental health provision and also to break down the stigmas when it comes to male mental health. And of course, with his own personal story of losing his mother so young, I think it just hit William quite hard.
Oh, he's so lovely, isn't he? What a beautiful man.
So often in these conversations, we talk about young people, we talk about schoolgirls' mental health. Very, very important, of course. But we aren't seeing an epidemic of suicide there. We're seeing an epidemic of suicide amongst men in their 30s and their 40s.
Yeah.
This is a specifically male issue for people that, aren't super young or super old. This is a specific problem for a specific demographic that doesn't often get spoken about.
The People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now, we've got a very interesting lady to speak to now called Rena O, a victim of child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. She's also one of Virginia Giuffre's most vocal critics. It's fair to say they were not friends.
Well, Rena is even suing Virginia Giuffre's estate following the release of her memoir, accusing her of fabricating stories about their experience in Jeffrey Epstein's dark world.
So let's speak to Rena O. Rena, lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us today. Why did you and Virginia fall out?
It all started a very long time ago. I would say in the year 2001. When I initially met Virginia, I actually really liked her. Jeffrey wanted us to be friends, and I thought she was my friend. I saw her on several occasions, both in New York and Florida. And the last time I saw her, she assaulted me. And I knew then that we couldn't be friends anymore.
But what is she saying, Rena, that you're taking exception with? I mean, we know that Epstein was a paedophile. He was convicted of it. What is there to defend about that man?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you asked.
Well, I'm asking, he's a bad guy. Why are you interfering in this and then trying to protect him, it seems to me?
Oh, no, I'm not protecting him in any way whatsoever. That's not true.
Right, well, what are you doing? Tell me what you want to resolve out of this. Were you libelled, you feel, by Virginia Giuffre's book?
In her unpublished memoir, she wrote an entire chapter about me. This is previously in the year 2015, I believe. She wrote a memoir. It was called The Billionaire's Playbook.
Yeah.
It was unsealed during, it was part of a court case. I believe it was the Alan Dershowitz defamation case. When I saw the chapter she wrote about me, it really upset me. All of those things that she said about me are not true. And I initially tried to resolve this with her, amicably, and she just blocked me on Twitter. And then it just escalated. She gave an interview in a podcast and then added even more, like she exaggerated the original story that she wrote down in her memoir. And after that, I started getting all these hate messages. People were just attacking me.
But is there anything outside attacking you? Is there anything you believe that she said about Andrew that is untrue, for instance, because that's the big concern, that's the big interest here in the United Kingdom?
What she said about Andrew? Well,
Yeah.
There's a section where she talks about a foot fetish, and she's taking a bath with him, and she mentions my name. I'm not into that kind of stuff. It's really weird how she even put me in that category. I never met Prince Andrew. I never heard of him. I've heard of Fergie. I've heard of, the two younger princes, and I really like them. I heard of Princess Diana. So I was not a royalist at the time. I didn't follow news about the royal family other than what we get here in the United States. So during my time around Jeffrey Epstein, I never heard of Prince Andrew, so I can't really confirm or deny her accusations.
And Rena, of course, Virginia Giuffre is not here to defend herself. She took her own life back in April. That must be a really complicated feeling for you because you went through the same abuse at the hands of Epstein, but of course the two of you were not friends.
We were friends in the beginning, but most recently, we were not friends, and it was mainly from her end. She decided to isolate me, even from the group of the other Epstein victims. And for many years, I've been all alone without any support. And that was part of the bullying that took place. And it was very traumatic. And I'm still trying to heal from all of that.
Well, we can see that. We can see that on your face, and we can hear that in your voice. Rena, thanks for your time this morning and give us an insight into your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Now, at 8:31, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. In Leicestershire, southbound drivers on the M1 between junctions 22 and 21A face delays due to a collision with 2 lanes closed. In Hampshire, the M27 eastbound between junctions 8 and 9 has 2 lanes shut, causing 30-minute delays. The A30 eastbound in Devon is disrupted by a broken down vehicle between the M5 and A375, reducing 1 lane. In Fife, drivers should exercise caution due to surface water conditions. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast reports major disruption between Carlisle and Preston, and Great Northern warns of delays between London King's Cross and Peterborough. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Up next on the programme, Wolves looking for their 5th permanent manager in 4 years. We'll be discussing that and more right after this short break. Please don't go away.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
A few managerial jobs may be up for grabs, and what names have you got in contentions? Marcus Buckland here.
Well, Eamonn, you might like this. Eric Ten Hag, formerly of Manchester United, 16-1 to become the new Wolves manager following the sacking of Vitor Pereira at the weekend. Gary O'Neill's the odds-on favourite at the moment, a short-term appointment perhaps. He was at the club before. He's available again. Brendan Rodgers is another name. Southampton are looking for a new manager as well because they sacked Will Still yesterday. So a lot of names are on both lists. I think Ten Hag's a long shot, but it will be interesting.
Where is he, Marcus?
Well, he's out of work. He went to Germany and lasted just a few weeks, and so he's available. But I'm not sure if he would fancy it. It's a little bit of a poisoned chalice just at the moment going to.
But so is he.
Oh no!
Oh dear. He won you a couple of trophies, Eamonn. Come on.
Right, so two big games yesterday. Interesting results. Let's begin West Ham, Newcastle. Big, important result for West Ham.
Yeah, very, very important. They finally won a home game. Nuno Espirito Santo has got them up and running. I think they caught Newcastle on a good day. They looked a little bit leggy. Manchester City won again to go second in the league. 2 more goals for Erling Haaland, 13 in the Premier League, 26 for club and country already this season. If he keeps going like that, maybe they can challenge Arsenal. And on the tennis front, just a word about Yannick Sinner, who picked up his 23rd career title yesterday. He won the Paris Masters, beating Felix Auger-Aliassime, so he goes back above Carlos Alcaraz in the rankings. They head to the final tournament of the year in Turin now, battling to become the year-end world #1.
Who do you think will come out on top there?
Good question. Sinner's bang in form. Alcaraz has looked just a little weary.
He has a bit, hasn't he?
But it'll be worth watching.
Who beat him the other day?
Cam Norrie.
Cam Norrie did.
Cam Norrie did, and then promptly lost the next day, which is always really frustrating when you get a big win, such as it was for Norrie. But I suspect that Alcaraz will come back fully charged up for the World Tour final.
It's funny you saying there about City being able to challenge Arsenal. Both played 10 games, 6-point difference. 6-point difference, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal ahead of them by 6 points. That's a big lead.
What it is, and the way Arsenal are playing and defending in particular, Eamonn, I hate to say it, as a man with a bit of Spurs in my heart, but they look nigh on unbeatable at the moment.
Oh, no.
But we know that Arsenal can be a little fallible at key moments, so who knows?
Marcus, thank you very much indeed. Still to come, what have we got?
Well, more Britons are using ChatGPT to help with their banking.
What is ChatGPT?
AI.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you
it's like
speak
an AI
to a
system.
computer or something?
Yeah, you can ask ChatGPT questions, it gives you answers. So people are asking for advice on their finances.
Well,
I don't know how wise that is, actually.
Well, I think it's very good that you can speak to anybody, because normally we phone up, your call matters to us. Press option 1.
Well, maybe that's
Press
why
option
they're all
2.
going to ChatGPT.
Yeah, well,
You can't get through to a real person.
Exactly. Well, that just make a difference. Just being able to speak to a human being, which you can't do in lots of calls.
Well, we are going to be speaking to 2 real human beings, Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi next. Oh, Dawn's hiding behind the sofa. Morning, you two. But first, here's the forecast for some of Europe's top destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
It's a slightly mixed picture across the Mediterranean at the moment. We've seen a band of rain across Eastern Europe that's now slipping its way into Greece tomorrow, so if you are heading out there, don't forget the umbrella. But many other central areas seeing some quite nice sunshine, but there's another band of rain beginning to push into western Portugal and northwestern Spain. This coming quite soon after they've had localised flooding last week, so there could be some further issues there. That rain band will slip across other areas of Spain, but elsewhere staying largely dry.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Dancing professional and entrepreneur AJ Pritchard. AJ, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Last saw you when you looked exactly the same as you did now a few years ago. Are you shocked by this news?
I think they're iconic, aren't they, Tess and Claude? But I think, like, people kind of worry, like, is this the magic of the show that's missing? But I think the magic of Strictly is the pros, the crew, the hair, the makeup, everything that it is. But I think my one worry is making sure that when you're going to, like, replace somebody like Tess and Claude, it needs to be somebody that is quirky, original. Like, let's take, like, French and Saunders. Like, you're thinking of yourselves now, aren't you? It's that thing, because they are so well-placed to bounce off each other. And I think that's what their role is. Like, they do it so perfectly. That is the scary part. How do you replace such an iconic double act, a duo? And they've been at the core of the show for such a long time, starting off in different positions, but both there for 20-odd years. I mean, it's just an extraordinary... Does this sort of score or underline some of the troubles that the show has had in the last few years? A few scandals with participants, viewing numbers down a little bit. Have we passed peak Strictly? I don't think so. I think the one thing with a show like Strictly is you're going to have different viewings over each year. You're going to see that kind of... Maybe you could say it's slightly plateaued at the moment, but I do feel like with the right cast, the right celebrities coming in, the right pros, like, it is so addictive. And when you suddenly sit down to watch it for, like, half an hour, you're like, OK, I'm attached to this journey now. I want to see how this is going to progress. I think that's the secret to these shows, really casting that celebrities and the pros themselves to really make it like, oh, I'm attached to that person now. I'm invested. I have to. My dinner plans have changed now because I need to watch Strictly tonight.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
We say hello, good morning, welcome to Dawn Leeson and Chris Akabusi.
Morning, you two. Morning.
Just making the stories in the newspapers. What have you got?
Well, Dawn, a number of Britons are now banking on ChatGPT for their financial advice.
I'm sorry.
What does that even mean?
Well, good question, Eamonn. On a need-to-know basis, people of our generation do not need to know. This scares the life out of me. ChatGPT is a bot that you talk to. There you go. That sums it up, I think, technically.
You talk to, you can text, you can write into it, yeah.
And it talks back
Ask
to you.
questions, yeah.
Exactly. Ellie's the expert on this one, on this panel. Any case, more than half of adults in Britain are now using ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence platforms to make financial decisions. I'm sorry, this scares the life out of me. It's like 28.8 million Britons use AI for money matters and advice. You are asking a robot on your phone, correct me if I'm wrong here, how to sort your finances out.
No, you're correct.
Right, that scares me.
Yeah. Who's culpable if they give you wrong information then?
Well, I mean, isn't ChatGPT programmed to tell you information that you want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Because there's been results, I think, if you tell them what your political persuasion is, it will give you a different answer to if somebody else asked for it, for instance. So it tailors its opinion to you.
But again, that would be research, wouldn't you? You'd ask it a question and ask it from a perspective. If you were thinking in this way, or this was your worldview, how would you answer? So that, again, that would be part of your research.
But it picks up on all of the information that you put in there. And it's so if I said, right, OK, I haven't, but if I've got £1,000 to invest, what do I do with it? Now, the ChatGPT will know what I'm interested in, the kind of things I do. So it might not give me financially reliable information, but something about, because it knows I'm going to like it
I'd be more impressed if...
It would say buy shoes.
I'd be more impressed if
it would be right.
I'd be more... If it looked at your history of information online, how you interacted, and then on the basis of that decided you might be risk averse or you might be more like this.
Well, when it comes to check a trade, so it's checkatrade.com. The growing use of AI is putting millions of households at risk of rogue traders, they are saying.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, I can understand here what they're actually saying is that because of the way that the AI works and it scans a whole of the World Wide Web for information, it can take information from the wrong sources and offer you up a solution for a trader to come to your house that circumnavigates the security settings that Checker Trader put on to ensure you don't get a rogue trader, therefore offering you somebody who they might think is not appropriately qualified to do the job for one way, shape or form.
So it really could be just doing an advert for Checker Trade.
No, it bypasses the consumer protections that Checker Trade put in place to ensure that if you went onto Checker Trade, you get 10 people in your locality right for your job as far as they're concerned. They passed all the consumer protection. But if you go and use your AI, it circumnavigates that and could offer you anybody.
Well, from passing consumer protection to maybe nearly passing out, Dawn, we're all football fans. Tell us about the mascot for St Albans City, who's called Sammy the Saint.
Eamonn, I love you. Thank you so much for giving me a story I actually understand to talk about. This never happens in my world. This is a football mascot. We all love football mascots. They are hilarious. This one was particularly hilarious. Now, Sammy the Saint, who cheers on St Albans City, is a lion, and fans suspected, we're not saying he did anything wrong, but fans suspected that Sammy the Saint may have had a few bevies before the match. In any case, the mascot was a bit wobbly on his feet and fell over the advertising hoarding. This is at City's FA Cup clash away at Burton Albion on Saturday. And Sammy the Saint had to be escorted off the pitch. Now, we're not saying this person... Many football mascots are women, by the way. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, we've reached out to St Albans. We haven't yet got a response from them. But it could have been part of the act, could it not?
It could have boozed up. Lots of fans are saying, you know, difficult times. We've talked about finances all day, all morning so far. Lots of fans are saying, thank you so much for cheering me up. It's good to have a bit of a laugh. I mean...
It looks all right to me. It looks like he's hamming it up big time.
Yeah, I think he might.
Yeah, he's hamming it up big time, yeah.
Well, that's because...
the crowd loved it.
Yeah, they did. Everyone loved it. And Chris and I are saying, well, it looks all right, because we go to football like that all the time, don't we, Chris?
Well, Chris, now that's a nice smile you've got on there. Are they what are known as turkey teeth?
I love the pun here. It says, don't travel too far. It's a bridge too far. So basically, the army are concerned that a lot of their soldiers, when their dentists check their teeth, they've got challenges with the teeth, abscess, gum disease, because they've gone to Turkey, hence turkey teeth, and the work is shoddy, giving them abscess, gum disease. I love the cartoon where it says there's some soldiers firing at some British soldiers, I'm assuming, was shoot when you see the whites of their teeth, because it's the veneers that they're putting in their teeth. It's causing challenges. It's not good for you. stay at home, soldiers, because we can't deploy you because half of you have got bad teeth, is what this article is saying.
So if you're deployed somewhere like in the middle of nowhere, like Afghanistan, Iraq, etc., there's no... if your teeth go horribly wrong, you can't get any...
Well, the army will have dentists that are deployed, obviously on site in rear guard. However, the amount of soldiers that are going with their teeth all mashed up because they've gone to Turkey is actually unbecoming, and it's becoming a challenge. So Lieutenant Colonel Wazim Slim is, fellas, don't do it. It's causing us challenges. We cannot manage things going forward with this sort of complexity.
Worrying for any of those going to the dentist soon, isn't it, Eamonn?
Indeed, indeed.
He's got a visit today, a little bit nervous about, aren't you?
And Dawn's got one tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, bright and
what's
early.
the latest on that train derailment there, Ellie?
So emergency services have been called to the train derailment in Cumbria. The Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, has declared a major incident, but she said there are no reported injuries. We've also got this statement now from Avanti West Coast, an update on this train. So it was a 6:10 service from Glasgow to Euston that is derailed at Shap in Cumbria. They say due to this derailed train between Penrith North Lakes and Oxenholme Lake District, all lines are blocked. We strongly advise customers not to travel north of Preston today. So a number of emergency services currently at the scene. As Heidi Alexander was saying, no reported injuries, but of course their priority is ensuring that people receive medical help as quickly as possible.
Now, Dawn, have you ever been tempted to, take up a job in another country? And I'm talking about Australia in particular here. I'm going to get you both to comment on this one.
Yeah. So, this is a story of about Bradley Russell. He's on holiday with his lady, his partner. He comes back. He decides they've been on holiday for a while. Come back, okay, it's time to settle down and get a job. He applies for 600 jobs in the UK.
Yeah.
He finds he's overqualified, and they ask him to do live-based consultancy tasks. He feels like he's on an MBA and he's doing free consultancy.
Yeah.
Gets fed up. His partner is from Australia. Goes to Australia, has 3 interviews and gets a job within 24 hours, and it's part and parcel of our graduate brain drain. So many young people are finding that places like Sydney, Singapore, Malta are much more humane and interactive and are interested in you and your skill sets, whereas over here we are put through so many loops that it's finding very, very 600 applications, and they asked him to do all sorts of different things to jump through these loops, and it was just unedifying. He's relocated like many of our young people are doing.
Well, anecdotally, 2 of my friends were living in Australia, living the high life. They've come back, they want to be near family. They must have applied for 600 jobs. They were doing a full-time job, applying for jobs, could not get a job in this country, and they're both experienced people with good careers behind them. And they think it's actually, and this is just anecdotally, down to AI. So all your CVs are being sifted through AI now, and you're just being put in the no pile.
Yeah.
And no real person is actually looking at your job application. Is what they're convinced by.
And there have been stories that have backed that up as well now, that so many people are applying for jobs, and certainly through our human resources agencies are not getting the jobs because the computer says no. No one's actually reading someone's CV and going, well, they would actually be a good fit with this particular company.
Yeah, I think that's influence is that when they went to Sydney, they were met with real people who were very much interested in them and their background and their skill sets and their experience that was appropriate for the job that they're going for.
Yeah, it's a bit of a concern.
The whole AI thing just worries me, I'm sorry.
If you weren't this amazing athlete, Chris, and you didn't join the army and whatever, is there a job that you would hanker after? Is there something you think, I wish I had been able to do that?
Oh, absolutely no-brainer. Move over Cottee, move over Goddard, move over McAvenny. Akabusi centre forward for West Ham United, taking the ball from Booking, smashing it in the back of the net.
We could do with
the talent for that.
No. That would have been the problem.
We can dream.
We can dream, yeah.
With the talent to us this morning. Chris Akabusi, Don Neeson, thank you both very much indeed.
Yeah, let's get a check on the weather now with Jonathan Bawtry.
Today's outlook: cool, calm, and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, a very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week, quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that has sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue though as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain, generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that. But it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight. Maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 8 million followers across social media. Thank you for making us a part of your daily life.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers in Fife should exercise caution due to surface water. On the M4 westbound, congestion occurs at junction 33 Capel-Llanilturn. Delays are expected on the M18 northbound between junctions 1 and 2 in Rotherham. In Bracknell Forest, the M4 westbound has 2 of 4 lanes closed. In Hampshire, 1 lane is closed on the M27 eastbound between junctions 8 and 9 due to an accident. In Devon, a broken-down vehicle on the A30 eastbound has closed 1 lane. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast passengers face major disruptions between Carlisle and Preston. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're giving you the chance to win your entire Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
A major incident has been declared following a train derailment. This is in Cumbria near Shap.
Well, emergency services have been called to the incident. That's according to North West Ambulance Service.
National Rail said the incident happened between Penrith and Oxenholme, affecting trains running between Carlisle and Preston.
Well, the Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, has said there are no reported injuries so far. We're going to be speaking to her for an update in just a minute.
Meanwhile, an heroic rail worker who tried to stop the knife attack on that train in Huntingdon at the weekend remains in a life-threatening condition. The attacker was questioned by police last night over the 14-minute stabbing spree, which left 11 people with injuries requiring hospital treatment.
Well, in that 14-minute spree of horror, some stories of heroism are now being shared as the train, the scene of that stabbing, has now left Huntingdon Station.
The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, is said to be weighing up more than 100 tax and spending plans. That's as the budget approaches in 3 weeks' time.
The Prince of Wales heads to Brazil today. He will launch his Earthshot Prize, the 5th year he's hosted it.
The going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
30,000 tributes to those lost in conflict have been unveiled at the National Memorial Arboretum.
It's a dull, damp and windy start to the week. Are there any signs of brightness on the horizon? I'll have the full forecast a little later on.
On this Monday morning, a very good morning. Good to have you on board. We're with you until 9:30, and I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Just to tell you, on a day of a lot of news and breaking news into the bargain, we are available not only on television, not only online, but also on your radio.
Yeah, and on smart speaker as well. Just ask for GB News. Now, the Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, says that a major incident has been declared following a train derailment near Shap in Cumbria, but says there are no reported injuries.
Let's get the latest. Let's go to our home and security editor, Mark White. Mark, tell us more.
Good morning to you. Yes, this was the 428 Avanti West Coast Line service from Glasgow down to Euston in London at 6:10 this morning. It derailed just near Shap. For those that know Shap, it's in Cumbria. It's a relatively rural area north or south, I should say, of Penrith. It's where the train really climbs the summit up there, thousands of feet high. We're told, you're looking at images there, that is off the front of that train. It's suggested that the train had hit some kind of a landslip, a rock slip on the track itself. Now, they are not uncommon at this time of year, especially in an area such as Cumbria on that West Coast line, where there are some steep ridges around there. You've got a lot of rainfall and wind at this time of year. It can cause a slippage down onto the track. It's one of the big known dangers that the rail services have to deal with. But this is the very last thing that those running the rail system and, of course, the Department of Transport needed after a weekend in which there was such disruption on the East Coast line through Huntingdon after that stabbing itself. The good news at the moment, at least, is there are no reported injuries. It's just a matter of trying to get people down off that train. These trains sit much higher off the tracks than you would imagine, so just getting people to climb down safely onto the tracks and get them away to safety. As you would imagine, this is having a very significant knock-on effect on West Coast mainline services. So the service north of Penrith at the moment, sorry, I should say Preston, it's as far down as that. North of Preston, there are no services at all, and the rail authorities, Network Rail, are advising people not to travel.
OK, Mark, appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, at 5 minutes past 9, a 32-year-old man is being treated as the only suspect of the mass stabbing on a train in Cambridgeshire on Saturday.
The second suspect arrested was also 35, a 35-year-old man. He's been released.
Well, authorities say the heroic rail staff member who tried to stop the attack and undoubtedly saves lives remains in a life-threatening condition.
And some breaking news now, fresh pictures coming into us of the train, which saw those horrific scenes departing from Huntington Station. We'll be live on the scene right now. Yeah, we're going there now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to Charlie Peters, who's there at Huntington, overlooking all of that. Charlie?
Well, good morning, Eamonn and Ellie. Yes, that LNER service departing north from this station, Huntington, leaving about 25 minutes ago now, departing in the same direction from which it arrived. And you can see there are still trains passing through here. It remains a busy station on, as it is, the East Coast main line, but that service, the LNER Class 800 Azuma, the train that stopped here amid a 14-minute stabbing frenzy on Saturday night, has now left, going back up the track it arrived from. We saw some activity on the train this morning, arriving as we did just before 6 o'clock this morning. The lights were still on the train, but no forensic activity, blinds pulled down, but then engineers and a cab driver getting into the cab of this train earlier, just after 8 o'clock, and then with a toot of the horn, off it went back up from that route. Now, with the train having left this location, perhaps it might soon open, but we do know across the country there is a policing surge at the moment on the railways, particularly on LNER and East Coast mainline services, to reassure customers and those travelling. The real sense of reassurance, Eamonn and Ellie, I'm sure, will come from further updates from British Transport Police and the Cambridgeshire Constabulary on the status of their investigation into what happened on Saturday. Travelling here yesterday and speaking obviously to people on the trains over the last few days, we have detected, I'm sure many others have at home as well, a shared sense of anxiety about what happened on Saturday night, seemingly with no explanation. The police keen to rule out any terror motive on a press conference delivered by a superintendent on Sunday morning, and then the removal of one of the two suspects, no longer being considered a suspect, no further action there, almost a day after he was arrested, that 35-year-old, leaving just one lone suspect behind, that 32-year-old black British national. So it does lead to some questions and I think some urgency on the authorities here to provide some transparency and some clear updates on the status of their investigation. What could be the motive behind this attack? Of course, at this stage, we do not know, and the police have not provided any sort of description of what could have inspired it. But when you hear about some of the eyewitness accounts, some of the victims on the train that has recently left the station, they described a man who had dead eyes, who said that the devil is not going to stop me, who was engaged in frenzied attacks, only prevented from further casualties due to, we're told, the heroic bravery of one staff member who, we're told, put himself between the attacker and others on the train. So could we be looking at an issue of mental health? Is that going to be like we've seen in other issues? Well, the investigation continues. We're waiting for an update from the police.
And that update's just come into us that the individual involved there has now been charged. OK, so thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. We'll leave it there.
Thank you very much indeed. Yep, this is just coming in from the PA news agency. Anthony Williams, 32, from Peterborough, has been charged with 10 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of actual bodily harm and 1 count of possession of a bladed article. And that's following a knife attack on a train in Cambridgeshire on Saturday. This is from the British Transport Police. So that news just in literally the last minute. Anthony Williams, 32, from Peterborough, been charged with 10 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of actual bodily harm and 1 count of possession of a bladed article.
We've got the Transport Secretary now available, Heidi Alexander, on this one. Miss Alexander, you've heard that news that has just come in about that man being charged, Anthony Williams. Anything you'd like to say?
Well, I would like to thank the efforts of the British Transport Police over the last 40 hours because they've worked at speed and have been in discussions with the Crown Prosecution Service, and I'm pleased to see that these charges have now been brought. I would also like to start by thanking the onboard train crew, the driver, the emergency services, the police, and also some of the passengers whose response on Saturday night demonstrated some incredible bravery, some incredible presence of mind. In particular, I would like to extend my best wishes to the family of the LNER staff member who is critically ill in hospital this morning. I'm told he's in a critical but stable condition. That individual went to work on Saturday morning in order just to do his job, and he ended his shift as a hero. And I have spoken to people who have reviewed the CCTV footage from the train. He literally put himself in harm's way to protect passengers, and I have no doubt that there are people alive today who wouldn't be had he not done what he did. And so on behalf of the government, and I suspect on behalf of the British people, I'd like to extend my gratitude to him for everything that he did.
Yeah, incredible bravery there. Just such a horrific incident, and conversations this morning about whether we should see airport-style security at train stations to stop an attack like this happening again. Or do we need to change the law to allow people to use pepper spray to defend themselves?
So I'm not convinced that airport-style security is the right response to this horrific incident. Thankfully, incidents like this on the rail network are very, very rare. We are increasing the patrols of the British Transport Police in visible locations at big stations in the next couple of days to provide reassurance. We're also investing in improvements to CCTV so that the British Transport Police can remotely access the video footage at stations that is captured by CCTV, and we want to make better use of facial recognition technology as well. When it comes to airport-style security, I think a lot of people realise that we've got thousands of railway stations across the country. When you think of your own local station, there will often be multiple entrances to that station and even more platforms. And so what I don't want is the one-off acts of people like this individual to actually then make life so much more inconvenient for everyone else. I don't think it's practical to introduce airport-style security at our railway stations, but that's not to say that I don't understand why people are asking this, and that's also not to say that we aren't reviewing security on the rail network, as we do as a matter of course, and we will do, obviously, after this incident as well.
It's interesting, Heidi, that you just said there, you know, you're not there to make things more inconvenient. A lot of people would say, well, by carrying out those actions, you're just making things much more safe.
So I want our railways to be a safe space. The British Transport Police are dedicated to policing the railways. We have to make sure that we deploy those resources that we've got effectively and efficiently. I think most reasonable people, whilst they will be absolutely horrified by what happened on Saturday night, will recognise that given the nature of the rail network, introducing those sorts of airport-style scanners is not realistic, but that's not to say that we are in any way complacent about the safety and security of the travelling public. We need to crack down on fare evasion to make sure that people aren't accessing the network who shouldn't be there. If people are seeing things that are happening on trains that they're concerned about, they should just text the British Transport Police on 61016. We've got those mechanisms in place to make sure that the public can report things that they're feeling unsure about, and I'd encourage any of your viewers to do that if they are on a train and are feeling unsure. We will review security arrangements,
Okay, Heidi.
but we've got to respond in a practical and proportionate way.
All right, we've got other breaking news today, which Ellie will tell you about.
Yeah, that major incident declared near Shap in Cumbria. What else can you tell us? Oh, seem to have lost connection with Heidi Alexander. We're going to try and reconnect with her now. Heidi Alexander, can you hear us?
Oh.
Sorry, looks as though we just lost
I've had
connection
some
with you.
disruption on the line. I'm not sure whether you can hear me still or
We've
not.
got
I'm
you
really
now,
sorry.
we've got you
I
now.
think you were
Yeah,
asking me.
If you can just update us, yes, on that major incident near Shap in Cumbria.
Okay, so I think I can hear you asking me about the train derailment in Cumbria this morning. What has happened is that an Avanti West Coast has derailed. That's very unusual for that to happen. I'm told there are no reported injuries at the moment. Emergency services have been dispatched as a precaution. What we need to do now is get people safely off that train so they can continue their journeys, get home. Network Rail, Avanti West Coast, the train operating company, are arriving at the scene to sort all of that out and make sure that arrangements are put in place for people. There will be a thorough investigation that's conducted by the Rail Accident Investigation Branch to understand exactly what has happened here and to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But the fact that this derailment has happened today, on the basis of all the information that I've got, is totally disconnected to what happened on Saturday in Huntingdon.
Transport Secretary, we've got to leave it there. Thank you, whether you can hear me or not. We'll just wave bye-bye to you. Thank you very much indeed for everything there.
And just as an update on that story about the train derailment in Cumbria, Tim Farron, who's the MP for Westmoreland, he has just said, I'm deeply concerned to hear the news coming out of Shap this morning. My thoughts are with everyone on board the train, and emergency service workers are now on the scene.
Okay. The final week of the Traitors, it is ahead, but who is coming out on top? We'll be joined by one of the participants of the show next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now, have you been enjoying Celebrity Traders on BBC One? Well, the final happens this week. There are 5 people left in the game, if you can call it a game. Deception and lies and deceit, and they get away with it. Let's speak to someone who knows all about that, the intensity of the round tables, and that's Theo Main. Theo, it was Series 1 for you. Is it all coming back to you watching recently?
Yeah, it comes back to you every time you see a new season. The trauma comes back for you, but it's an incredible watch, and I think it's obviously blown up on TV even massively more so that it's celebrities.
Yeah, and how have you found the celebrities getting along?
They've all seemed to be playing nice, to be fair, until very recently when it started to get a bit personal. But I feel like it's been a good watch. I don't think they've really held back that much. I feel like they have put themselves in a position where they've got to think of what they represent outside of the Traitor's Castle. But yeah, it's been a watch.
Theo, to see how people think, how we're all conditioned to think. So nobody looks at Alan Carr and thinks he would be a baddie because of his, TV persona. And then there's that girl, Kat. No one seems to, she doesn't come under the radar at all.
No, honestly, they're playing a blinder of a game. It's quite funny to watch because Alan Carr is literally laughing at round tables and nobody's picking it up. Kat Burns, I mean, I've met her a few times, Kat Burns. She's a lovely, lovely girl. So I think she's being herself in there. I think that's the best way you can play the game, is to literally be yourself and pretend that you're faithful.
How hard is it to actually spot a traitor? Because it's easy for us sitting at home knowing who the traitors are, but it must be really difficult when you're in there and at that round table being persuaded by people.
Yeah, you get really immersed in the game, and I think the first couple of episodes, it's herd mentality. One person says something and you all jump on the bandwagon and think, yeah, let's go for that. So it is quite tough, and obviously the round tables take so much longer than what you see on the cups. It changes and changes and changes. We said one thing, then it goes to somebody else, and then by the end of it, you're just all discombobulated, and you just put a name on the slate and then hope they are one. So you are really immersed in the game to the point you forget what's going on outside world.
But Theo, let's bring you back to what's going on. Who do you think, of the 5 left, who do you think is going to go through as winner?
I actually think Kat Burns is going to take the win.
Because no one suspects her, do they?
Yeah, I think she might throw Alan under the bus last minute, but I do think it's going to be Kat Burns for the win.
Okay.
Very good prediction.
I'm never going to enter, Theo, because they would vote me out. I'd be the first one voted out to say, oh, that Eamonn, watch him, he's dodgy, he's dodgy.
You'd be good on it. You'd get the ball up.
I'd be gone history. Theo, lovely talking to you. Got to leave you there, my friend.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Now, Britain's Newsroom coming up at 9:30. Andrew Pearce and Miriam Cates are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
Well, we'll have obviously all the latest on what's going on at Huntingdon Station, but also obviously another big breaking news story about a derailment up in Cumbria. And actually, there was a piece in the Telegraph last night warning that this is about to happen because of Britain's decrepit rails.
This will be quite serious because this will have a real impact on train times for days and weeks because they've got to find out why it happened, and as a result, they'll slow all the trains down.
Yeah.
Big
Well, if it's
issue.
the mudslides, which is what Mark White was suggesting this morning, I mean, that could be a real issue.
Real
looking
problem.
ahead.
But imagine if you've been on that train and it's
well, this
your
put
first
people
thought
off.
would be, oh my God.
Yeah.
Is it another?
This put people off using trains, do you think? Either danger or safety, whatever.
Because
but
it's still
anyway,
a pretty
hold
safe
that
way to
thought because you've got the weather to come. Have a good show.
Don't go away.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, a very good morning to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. The weather isn't really providing the most pleasant of starts to the week, quite dull and damp for many of us, courtesy of low pressure that is sat close by, resulting in a fairly unsettled theme. There is quite a lot of cloud on the scene first thing this morning with outbreaks of rain. They could be persistent and heavy at times, particularly around some hills across western areas of the UK. It is also going to be a very windy day across the board with gales around exposed coastal and hill areas. If you are a little bit further towards the east, there is the slightly greater chance of you seeing that cloud breaking up a touch more, so that might allow some sunshine to poke through in places, and generally will stay a little bit drier here as well. But even if you do have the rain and the cloud around today, you will notice just how mild it is out there. Temperatures peaking 14 to 16 degrees Celsius for most nations. That is notably above where we should be for this time at the start of November. The unsettled theme will continue though as we head into the evening. Further outbreaks of rain generally setting themselves up in a slight northeast-southwest line with potential for some slightly drier interludes either side of that, but it's still going to be a very blustery night right across the board. Those strong southwesterly winds filtering in mild conditions, particularly underneath the cloud and rain, only dropping down to around 14 degrees Celsius overnight, maybe a touch fresher where we see some clearer skies across Northern Ireland and Scotland. There is a little bit of uncertainty on Tuesday in exactly where the rain bands will be placed at this time, but certainly at this point, southwest England, southern Wales could see a lot of rainfall during the day. That's spreading its way into parts of northern England later on. Again, it's the southeast England, northern Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland that could stay drier over the course of the day, but it's still going to be blustery for all of us, and temperatures again 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. This unsettled and mild theme is looking to continue right throughout the week, so do get used to it. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the nation. Because the truth matters, and so do you.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M9 northbound junction to Onslip at Old Philipstown faces restrictions due to a live lane breakdown. Please approach with caution. On the M1 southbound at junction 21 in Leicestershire, a road traffic collision has closed all lanes. Additionally, the M40 southbound between junction 16 and junction 15 in Warwickshire has an overturned vehicle, causing all lanes to be closed. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast is experiencing major disruption between Carlisle and Preston, while Great Northern faces disruption between London King's Cross and Peterborough. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg and this is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Sumo is a fantastically simple sport to win. There's only really two win conditions. You either drive your opponent out of the doyo, the ring, or you take them to the ground. And when we say take them to the ground, any part of their body other than the soles of their feet which touches the ground, that counts as a loss. Now, how you do this can vary. It varies between wrestlers and their backgrounds and styles. Some will be more focused on the driving and the pushing. Some, particularly with the judo background, more focused on the throws. There is kind of a core of winning techniques, which we call kimarite, and they're kind of standard winning techniques. But realistically, any technique you use to get your opponent either out or down, you'll win the match.
But the two that we're seeing on the screen look actually quite lightweight sumos, because I've seen some really heavy sumos, but with that weight, they are incredibly flexible. The one earlier was doing the box splits. I mean, there he is. Look at that. That is not an easy... I'm training to do the box splits, and I can't do that. And look at him. He's going to roll all the way through as well. Rob, they're very fit, aren't they? But these ones look lighter.
So they are incredibly fit athletes, and I think one of the things people forget when they look at sumo or they look at rikishi is that they are athletes, you know, and to a degree we're looking at two sumo wrestlers standing next to each other, and so they look normal size in comparison to each other. In terms of their body fat percentage, it's actually very, very low.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning, it's 9:30 on Monday the 3rd of November, live across the UK, Britain's newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Miriam Cates.